reminders of the domination through the decades. In fact, this song set atop the charts way back in 1977, which was the last time the Cyclones of Iowa State saddled up a win here on the Huskers' home turf. And speaking of records, you're looking at the 272nd consecutive sellout of Memorial Stadium, a mark unsurpassed in NCAA college football history. It's the Big 12 opener, the 23rd ranked Cyclones of Iowa State taking on the Cornhuskers of Nebraska. Iowa State has won the toss and they have deferred. They will kick it off, and Nebraska will get the ball on offense to open the afternoon here at Memorial Stadium. Along with Trini Kusneric and the coach Terry Bowden, I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us on what is a gorgeous day for college football here in the heartland. Tony Yelk, a low floater end over end, will bound into the end zone. And that's where Brandon Jackson will take a knee, and the Huskers will take it over on their own 20-yard line. Take a look at the Nebraska junior quarterback, Zach Taylor, the transfer from Wake Forest. Spent a couple of years with the Demon Deacons as a redshirt in 2002, a backup in 03. And then went to Butler County Community College in El Dorado, Kansas, where he led them to the national championship game a year ago. An extremely accurate passer. You wouldn't know it by looking at that 43.8% completion rate, but he does have a great arm in getting the football to the receivers. Taylor gets some pressure, and as he's going down, gets the pass off, and that pass complete to wide receiver Terrence Nunn.
That's the pressure he's getting right off the bat, and that's what they want to do to Zach Taylor. He has got to be calm and comfortable. You'll see right here as he sets back up in the pocket, looking for his short throw. Now, they're a short control passing team. There's the pressure. He stands up, and there's Berryman, who's a great pass rusher, getting pressure, but he hits the short control passing route. Jason
Berryman, the 2003 Defensive Newcomer of the Year in the Big 12 Conference. First handoff on the running play. Nice cutback by Corey Ross, the tailback.
Corey Ross has been their entire running attack this year, 118 yards a game, and watch him throughout the day. He is known for his cutbacks. No matter how much he stretches them, he's always looking for the cutback. That's where he picks up most of his yardage.
Corey Ross, 11 career 100-yard rushing games, now has over 2,220 yards with that carry, 17th all-time in Nebraska history. Third and a couple for the Huskers in the opening drive. Taylor back to pass, short pass outside, should have the first down as they're down near the 45-yard line. That is J.B. Phillips, the tight end.
And the crowd's erupted here, Jerry. As you know, it's about ball control for Nebraska. They've not had much success on their first drive, and that's all people are talking about, a successful first drive. Iowa State wants to get them some 3 and outs. They don't want them to control the ball with short passing game, running game, and control the clock. So far, the plan works for the first set of sticks.
Bill Callahan came in here a year ago and shelved 100 years of power option football to put in the West Coast attack. Taylor bobbles the snap, now tucks it and run, and will pay the price, gets rid of the football, and they're saying Iowa State's got it, as the officials say no, he was down, and it'll bring up a second down for Nebraska at about the 39-yard line.
Well, you'll never know it, but there may very well be an instant replay. You can't see it. Here's the replay again as he comes out. It's a high snap. He can't control it, so he brings it down, takes off running, sees he can make some yards, takes a big hit. If you can't see it from that angle, but you know upstairs, instant replay is being observed.
Yeah, Nebraska needs to snap this ball quickly, because if they do see something, they can call down and
stop the play. You're exactly right.
Page the officials. They get the ball underway. Here's Ross again on the sweep left. Oh, nice penetration by the Cyclone defense, and he may lose a yard. Tim Dobbins, the middle linebacker, only returning starter in the linebacking corps for the Cyclones, there to make the stop.
Well, we'll talk about that play throughout the day. One of the top offensive running plays for Nebraska is the stretch zone play, where Corey Ross will stretch and try to run to the sideline looking for a cutback. What Iowa State did, they stayed in their lanes. That play did not allow any openings, and when he sees a hole, he's just going to go to it. He saw none. He could not get around the outside.
This offense of Nebraska ranked 107th in the nation in total offense. Only 271 yards a game, only 138 running the football. That's why they're back to pass early on. And Taylor will complete that pass up across midfield. And that is Mulkey the former walk-on, who will make the reception for another Husker first down.
Now that's what you want to see with this West Coast offense. Run the ball and then have a controlled, short, high percentage passing attack. Zach Taylor throwing 43%. He is an accurate thrower. He needs to get to about 60% in his completions.
And we welcome those of you joining us. We are in Lincoln, Nebraska for this Big 12 opener between the Huskers of Nebraska and the 23rd ranked Cyclones of Iowa State. This is the opening possession for Nebraska, the 272nd consecutive sellout. An NCAA college football record here at Memorial Stadium. Over 73,900 in attendance, along with the coach Terry Bowden and Trini Kusnerick. I'm Jerry Punch, glad to have you with us for what is a gorgeous day for college football here in the Heartland. 8th play of the offensive drive coming for the Huskers. And here is Taylor back to pass. Short dump across the middle to France Hardy, who will dance out of bounds down to the 30-yard line. Take a look at our Ameriprise starting lineup here. Nebraska backs and receivers. 5th-year senior Corey Ross is an Oak Walker Award candidate. And France Hardy, who caught that pass a moment ago, junior college transfer, their leading receiver for the Huskers. Up front on the offensive line, 3 returning starters. Kurt Mann, the Lombardi and Remington Award candidate, and Seppo Abwar-Arye. He's the senior leader at 6'5", 320 pounds. And there is Zach Taylor, the transfer from Wake Forest. Spent a couple of years as a backup for the Demon Deacons and then went to junior college a year ago. Pinpoint passer, as you see there, and that pass completed to the fullback, Dane Todd, and he will be down near the first down yardage. Taking a look at the Cyclones defensively. Up front, their senior leader is Nick Leaders, a 4-year starter anchoring the middle, and Berryman is a force off the edge. Their linebacker, leading tackler Matt Robertson, had 11 against Army last Friday night. And in the secondary, free safety Steve Greedy Paris is his nickname. Big 12 Conference Defensive Player of the Week. He picked off 2 passes against Army in the first quarter a week ago. Taylor back to pass. He's 5 for 5, make it 6 for 6. That pass completed to Grant Balke, a pinpoint pass by the junior Zach Taylor. Well, we know momentum is so important in college football, and we asked Bill Callahan, the Custer head coach, yesterday, what's the approach you take to the day's conference opener early on?
As we enter this game, we're taking a very aggressive approach to our game plan on offense and defense. We're going to continue to work to sustain, the first drive of the game and punch it in the end zone. That's the name of the game, is to score on the first drive and to really put doubt in an opponent's mind.
And there's a look at the second-year head coach, Bill Callahan. As he tries to get his Huskers in the end zone, they call a timeout. We'll take it with him and come back to Lincoln in just a moment. Back at Lincoln, Nebraska, opening possession for the Cornhuskers of Nebraska. 11th play of a drive that started back on their own 20-yard line. Zach Taylor, the junior quarterback, 6 for 6. Perfect thus far here after struggling with a completion percentage below 45% in the first 3 outings of the year. Taylor looks deep to the end zone, will tuck it and take off. He's got some speed, gets a nice block upfield and dances down near the 25-yard line. The tackle made by Matt Robertson. Now, moments before kickoff, the third member of our team, Trini Kusnerick, spoke with the Husker head coach Bill Callahan. And Trini, what did he have to say?
Well, guys, their offense is doing exactly what Coach Callahan wanted them to do. He said they needed to come out of the gates fast. They scripted the first 15 plays. What it contains is a lot of personnel and formation shifts. He said the goal, keep the Iowa State defense off balance and get on the board early.
Exactly. It's all about momentum. The team that has scored earliest and gotten momentum in this matchup has gone on to win the football game. Ross trying to regain his balance. And coach, last year it was Iowa State that got momentum early on, went up 10-0 early on, and then 2 years ago at Ames, Iowa State was ahead 10-0. But 2 years ago when they played here, it was the Huskers that went up 21-0 in the first quarter. Momentum is a huge factor in any football game.
Well, I'm not surprised at what Nebraska's doing. This is the game plan they talked about. Control passing, accuracy, making good, wise decisions. I'm a little bit surprised about Iowa State. They said they needed to stop the control passing attack. They're playing soft, giving all the underneath throws. next time you can't see that happen the next series.
Hard to believe this offense has struggled this year. This is a very methodical drive and great defensive effort as Ross tries to cut it back. And Steve Parris there to make the stop along with a host of Cyclones. First team to score has won this game. Of course, Iowa State in the last 3 meetings leads the series 2-1, but that's exactly what's happened on the home field. A 30-yard field goal attempt by freshman Jordan Congdon, who's missed his last 2 attempts against Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago. That kick is up and good. And just that quickly, the Huskers of Nebraska break out on top 3-0 before a capacity crowd here in Lincoln. Back with the kickoff. ABC Sports presentation of college football is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, one taste and you get it. By Allstate, a proud sponsor of the Bowl Championship Series. By Chevy, the new Chevrolets, an American revolution. And by FedEx, for the ultimate in reliable shipping. Relax, it's FedEx. Exactly what Bill Callahan had scripted. 14 plays, 68 yards, 6:32 off the clock. Taylor, a perfect 6 for 6, and the Huskers go up on a 30-yard field goal. DeAndre Jackson deep to receive, and he is a weapon in kickoff returns. Had 2 over 50 yards against Army last Friday. Well, Jackson will take it in the shadow of his own goal line, cuts it back, still on his feet, and dances up near the 20-yard line. Well, take a look at Iowa State sophomore co-captain quarterback Brett Meyer. The freshman All-American a year ago and team offensive MVP, threw for almost 2,000 yards. But last week he had 3 picked off against Army. All 3 were tip passes. He is a dual threat. He can run it and he can throw it upfield. 6'4", 205-pound sophomore from Iowa. And listen to this Cornhusker crowd. They are in it early. Meyer looks upfield and, oh, great. Oh, he thought he had it. Great attempt. That's Todd Blythe. They're trying to pick up where they left off a year ago when it was all about Myers to Blythe.
The game plan is simple. Give protection to Brett Meyer. Let him throw deep to 6'5" Todd Blythe. Todd ripped him last year with his catches. I'm shocked that he's able to get behind the defender after they got burned so much last year. The key has to be keep those receivers underneath you. But for that drop pass, field position would have been changed.
Well, they were picking on Tierre Green, the converted tailback, who's making his first start this year, this season, I should say, as a cornerback. Well, nothing doing offensively there for Coleman. Let's take a look at the Ameriprise starting lineups for Iowa State. Backs and receivers. Stevie Hicks, the leading rusher the last 2 years, is a starting I-back. Converted quarterback, Austin Flint, the leading receiver. And up front, 3 starters returning from the Iowa Bowl winning team a year ago. Stevenson, the Minnesota transfer, a converted defensive lineman. He's been a very pleasant surprise at center for the Cyclones. Once again, Meyer back to pass. Has a receiver wide open at the 41-yard line. That'll be a first down for the Iowa State Cyclones. Take a look at the Huskers defensively. The top-ranked black shirt defense. Up front, defensive end Adam Carricker leads the team with 5 sacks, and LaKeven Smith, a dominator in the middle. At linebacker, Corey McEwen leads the team with 26 tackles. And in the secondary, strong safety Daniel Bullocks is a preseason all-conference selection and on the watch list for both the Thorpe Award and the Ronnie Lott Trophy. A very talented, top-ranked black shirt defense for the Huskers here, just giving up the first down a moment ago. Meyer gets pressure, gets hit from behind, and lets go of the football. And a great job by Johan Egbers to jump on the football and retain possession for the Cyclones.
These 2 defensive ends have done an outstanding job. Jay Moore, number 44, gets pressure along with Adam Carricker right there. Jay Moore, their drop in, their open-ended defensive end. He'll play on the open-ended side Adam Carricker right behind him. Keep your eye also on number 90, Adam Carricker, who has 5 sacks.
There's looking at the defensive backs, Crixby, Tiedtke, Bullocks, and Green are the D-backs for the Huskers of Nebraska. Loss of 7. That'll bring up a 2nd and 17. And Meyer, in and out of the hands of his intended receiver, and that is Austin Flynn. We check in back in New York with John Saunders.
Doc with a Taco Bell update. Garrett Rivas had missed the field goal with 39 seconds left in regulation. That likely would have won it for Michigan. So he gets a second chance in overtime, nails it from 35 yards, and the Wolverines go to 3-2 and hand Michigan State their first loss of the season. Doc, back to you.
Thank you very much, John. What a contest that was in East Lansing. Overtime. Going to the Big Blue of Michigan. First possession here for the Cyclones of Iowa State. 3rd and 17. Meyer looking upfield, and great defensive effort upfield by Blake Tiedtke, the free safety, as Austin Flynn was the intended receiver.
Blake Tiedtke, a walk-on player for Nebraska, earned a scholarship in the offseason, and now one of the leaders in the secondary, playing a free safety. Does a great job of intelligence, lining up correctly, making sure players are covered and not behind him.
Troy Blankenship back to punt it away for the Cyclones, standing on his own 21-yard line, averaging 41.5 yards a punt this year, is long a 68-yarder. And Courtney Grigsby, the cornerback, back to receive, and a great kick by Blankenship back at his own 10-yard line. And he will get up not quite to the 20. How about the black shirts of Nebraska's top-ranked defense, smothering effort here early on against the Cyclones offense. Back in a moment. Back in Lincoln, Nebraska, in attendance today, 77,433. We told you 272 consecutive sellouts. They love their college football here in Husker country. Second offensive possession for the Cornhuskers of Nebraska. Taylor, a perfect 6 for 6, make it 7 for 7, and nearly breaking the tackle is France Hardy, who was his teammate at Butler Community College back in Kansas. Now, near the conclusion of today's game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team, and Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Chevrolet players of the game coming up in the 4th quarter. And first incompletion of the afternoon by Zach Taylor. And Coach, take a look at the offensive priorities here for the Huskers.
Absolutely, offensive priorities. Again, you've got to have consistency out of your quarterback. You've got to be able to be consistent. Eliminate offensive penalties, obviously, because they had 11 offensive penalties last week against Army. Positive yards on first down. We've seen that every time. And the one thing we haven't seen yet, but we'd like to see during the day, somebody catch a short pass and turn it into a big play.
2nd and 10. What they wanted to avoid was have some positive yards on first down. This time Ross dances around from Berryman, gets away. Another tackle, he sidesteps. Great effort by the 5th-year senior, and that'll bring this crowd to life. Corey Ross gets positive yards before finally being stopped by Tim Dobbins. There's a look at Ross's number 17th all-time in Husker history. And my, there have been some great ones here over the years, including a couple of Heisman Trophy winners.
You know, he is a plugger. He is a scrappy guy. I'm not sure his size-wise makes him that big prototype NFL back, but he's such a hard worker. He gets everything that he can get every time he touches the ball.
Good protection up front, and great catch. Nice grab by J.B. Phillips, who is the backup tight end. They are without Matt Harrion, their record-setting tight end from a year ago, and now this guy stepping up, Phillips.
I mean, this is huge right here. We're seeing the adjustment by the defense to tight man coverage. So in this play, watch how closely tight man coverage. We're seeing a different defense approach. But more importantly for Nebraska, we're seeing execution of the passing attack against tight man coverage. That's not easy. It was wide open the first series. This series, they're playing much tighter. A great completion by Zach Taylor.
That was Nunn, by the way. Terrence Nunn, the sophomore out of Houston, Texas, on the reception. As the Huskers will talk it over. Once again, they've used up 2 timeouts here in the first quarter, but they lead 3-0 in Lincoln. Back in Lincoln, Nebraska, taking a look at 51-year-old head coach Dan McCarney, 11th year with the Cyclones, winningest coach in Cyclone history. He's taken the program to 4 bowls in the last 5 years. The only 2 bowl victories in Iowa State history this man has given them. The Insight Bowl back in 2000 against Pittsburgh, and last year in the Independence Bowl against Miami of Ohio.
Great reason teams should be patient with their coaches. They stuck with this coach while he took time to build this program from the bottom up. And now in the last 5 or 6 years, great success. It's the way it should be done.
What a great start by that man, the quarterback, Zach Taylor. He is 8 for 9 for 66 yards through the air. And this will be his 10th pass, and just threads the needle. And the receiver turns around. He's still running.
He put it right on his.
College football coming your way tonight on ESPN. Charlie Weiss has Brady Quinn and the Notre Dame offense soaring as they face Purdue, looking to beat the Fighting Irish for the 3rd time in a row. College football prime time presented by Polaroid on ESPN tonight at 7:45 Eastern time. Coming your way, by the way, in ESPN HD.
Grant Mulkey, he put that ball right on the money. He's still throwing incredibly accurate. Grant Mulkey didn't turn his head around time on that last play, or it would have been a completion also.
Once again, Taylor wide open upfield. That is Nunn again, as they are starting to back off a little bit on some of these receivers.
That they shouldn't be doing this. This is opposite. They played tight man coverage, and although the ball was completed last series 1 time, you can't sit back and give them this underneath control game. That's what they talked about. Dan McCarney during the week told us we've got to keep them from controlling the clock. To do that, you've got to get up. Let's see if the secondary starts getting up tighter on the wide receivers at least every other play. Mix it up.
Hard to believe Taylor came into this game averaging only 43% completion. You saw the numbers a moment ago. Look at upfield. Still has some time now. Will tuck it and take off. Cuts it back, and he gets hit hard. As we have a flag on the play up at about midfield, he is hammered down at about the 41-yard line.
Taking the ball down and running with it. That's the one thing he's doing better this 4th ball game. He sees everything's covered. Go get something positive. It's a ball control. Get what you can. Positive yardage on 1st down. Now this is going to bring the ball back here as there's a penalty on the play. But he's making positive yardage on 1st down.
10 yards from the previous spot. Still 1st down.
Saw the lick there a moment ago by Tim Dobbins and Adam Carper, the freshman from Clarinda, Iowa, former quarterback and defensive back in high school.
You know, we talked about not having mental penalties as opposed to physical penalties, illegal procedures, motion, offsides. Those were the type of penalties Nebraska had against Pitt a couple of weeks ago that was so frustrating. You don't want to hold, but when a quarterback scrambles and you're aggressively trying to block for him, those happen sometimes. They're not mental penalties, they're more physical penalties.
This is what Nebraska did not want to have happen, 1st and long, as they struggled in the first couple of games because of penalties and miscues and missed assignments, and they put them in long yardage situation on 2nd and 3rd down. We are in Lincoln, Nebraska for the opening Big 12 conference competition between the Cornhuskers of Nebraska and the 23rd ranked Cyclones of Iowa State. Along with the coach, Terry Bowden, and Trenny Kusnerick, I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us. Nebraska dominating, took the football on the opening drive, 103 yards to 12 yards. Iowa State's only had 1 possession, couldn't move it. A 14-play, 68-yard drive for the Huskers and a 30-yard field goal. Just put them up 3-0 if you just joined our coverage. And that pass, trying to get it out, and Taylor couldn't quite get it there.
Yeah, that was the one couldn't quite get it. His quarterback was scrambling. But Zach Taylor continues to impress. He's had 4 balls dropped today. Now, I don't consider that one a drop ball because that one's a little bit behind. He's had 4 dropped on top of all of his completions. So right here, it's 3rd and 20. Don't be afraid to punt and play defense. You got the #1 scoring defense in the nation. 3rd and 20. Take something underneath. Maybe they roll for it, throw deep, but don't be afraid if you have to.
Nebraska 3 of 4 on 3rd down conversions today, but they've got a long way to go on this one. That'll go up to the Iowa State 35 for a first down, and that's where he throws the football. And he just overthrows Grant Mulkey. He throws it a yard back. It's a first down for the Huskers.
Yeah, but what I was saying, if it throws the yard too far, it's an interception, and you've got a chance to punt them back down deep. You got the #1 scoring defense in the nation. I don't mind a deep ball way over top. If it's intercepted, it's all the way down like the punt. But you got to think about your team and what's best to win this game right now. Let's turn it back over to the defense.
Take a look at Sam Cook, who launched an 84-yard punt in his last outing against Pittsburgh. Had 3 punts over 50 yards. Is averaging 44.8 yards, 12th in the country. And a floater that heads down toward the 5-yard line will hit it to 4 and bounce into the end zone, and the Cyclones will take over after a 55-yard punt on their own 20. Well, the Packers are 0-3 for the first time in 17 years. And the question is, can Brett Favre and Amon Green and the 3-time defending NFC North champions right the ship? They head to Carolina for a primetime showdown with the explosive Steve Smith and the Panthers. Monday Night Football coming your way 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, right here on ABC. Well, the Husker faithful know the black shirts are back on the field, and this defense limited Brett Meyer and company to just 12 yards in the opening possession. Let's see if the Cyclone offense can get on track here. There he's Hicks with a cutback, and an ankle tackle will stop him after a gain of about 3.
Very important that Stevie Hicks, be able to play today. He's been banged up since before the season. He got over 100 yards against Iowa, but could barely get up off the ground against Army and had a tough game last week. They had to take him out. He needs to be healthy and happy right now.
Four categories in NCAA, this defense ranked in the top 10, including they are #1 in the nation in scoring defense, allowing just 5.3 yards a game. They've allowed a total of 16 yards through 3 games, and they have not allowed a point in the first quarter this year. Upfield and overthrows the intended receiver. John Davis was the intended receiver upfield. Zachary Bowman, the impressive transfer out of Anchorage, Alaska, there on the coverage.
Well, we talked about giving Brett Meyer time to throw the football. Time to throw the football right there. That time he did have time, but he overthrew it. And now you've got a critical 3rd and 7.
Meyer is 1 of 5 throwing the football for 19 yards. Remember, he's the young man who lit up the Huskers a year ago throwing the football. Meyer back to pass, gets some pressure, and he will go down at the 20-yard line. That smothering black shirt defense that came in with 20 sacks in 3 games, getting it done here early in Lincoln.
Well, 20 sacks going into this game, and that's been the key to their success, putting pressure without having to blitz. Watch him come now. You got Wally Muhammad coming in off the outside, pushes the defensive tackle into him, and now forces Brett Meyer into the other side.
Blankenship will be back to punt, standing on his own 6-yard line. And a great kick by Blankenship, backs up the Husker back to Courtney Grigsby, back to his 30. And they'll take over after a 9-yard return, a 50-yard punt by that man right there. Well, Coach, everyone talked, the big talk in the Big 12 was, where's the offense for Nebraska? They have been very efficient here at the start today.
Well, the thing is, a new offense like that, it takes time. You get better, We talked to Coach Callahan yesterday that the penalties against Pitt was kind of an anomaly. It was just an unusual aberration. It happened in one game. And the key is that they just make corrections, get better. They use the off week well, as you can see.
Taylor again having trouble taking the snap and fires it across the middle and behind the intended receiver. You're talking about this offense and how it's getting on track. When we talked to Jay Norvell, the offensive coordinator, he said, you know, we took the time during the off week and just went back to basics, just pure fundamentals of blocking and tackling, getting your head in front of somebody you got to block, and just trying to simplify everything.
Well, you know, and there's nothing new about it. When you talk about it's so different. I ran this offense, almost every one of these plays I recognize from the late 80s when I first put in the Bill Walsh offense, the split back, West Coast offense, ran almost all the same plays, so it's not rocket science. It's just execution.
If they can execute here, short pass to Mulkey over the middle. That's his specialty, courageous little guy. They said he will take the crossing routes and catch the football. Tim Dobbins there on the stop after a gain of about 5.
Again, reducing the change is so important. Getting a 3rd and 3 to 5, 3rd and 2 and 3, that's the type of third down you want now. This is a very manageable completion here, a very manageable third down play as opposed to having a penalty or missing passes and playing behind the chains.
3rd and 4. Young man has been very good throwing the football today. Talking about Zach Taylor, the junior quarterback here for the Huskers. Gets some pressure, gets it off, and was rushed. And if he didn't get it off right then, he was going down.
Alvin Bowen got great pressure off the outside. That was a pressure incompletion there. No chance to hit the open man because of the pressure. Check number 15 right here at the bottom of your screen as he comes in free. Great shot. The back pulls out. Too low. Nice hit on the quarterback. Running back needs to keep his head up. Don't be cutting him. Get your face in front of him. Make him run over you. You're not going to stop him, but if he runs over you, he's not going to get to the quarterback.
There is Sam Cook. You see the number 2nd in the Big 12, and he launched one earlier. It just barely bounded into the end zone. And deep to receive is Ryan Baum. Oh, another mortar shot by Cook, and Baum will take it at his own 9-yard line. Up across the 15, and he will be tackled at about the 19. So we head back to New York and check in with John Saunders.
Well, the number 1 team in the nation, USC, facing Arizona State and forced the punt. Terry Richardson fields it and then uses the field. Watch the breakaway speed, 84 yards for the touchdown as Arizona State grabs the lead against USC. But let's remember that they were down 13-0 last week before they peeled off 45 straight. 7-0.
John, Arizona State, a very dangerous offense that put up quite a few points, over 30 points against LSU. A very good defense there in their opener. Getting it done early against Southern Cal. Here's Meyer wide open at the 45, and thrown out of bounds at the 49 is Todd Blythe. A 30-yard gain, and how can he be that wide open when he is their all-time leading receiver?
Well, what they're doing is he got behind them. Remember the first play of the game? They're playing deep. You want to play deep. Now watch the hit. 44, Jay Moore puts on Brett Meyer. This is what you want to do. If you're going to let him pass it, hit him. But here's him getting between the zone plays. Todd Blythe, I'd much rather him catch one underneath than over top, although that's still too much yardage.
Meyer-led Cyclones trying to get beyond midfield here for the first time in the first quarter. As our referee, Drew George, will spot the football and restart the play clock. Final minute of the first quarter. One long drive by the Huskers. Pressure, and he gets the football off. Corey McKeon putting on the pressure, but the pass is complete to Austin Flynn, and that'll be another Cyclone first down after a gain of 12.
Oh boy, I can see the strategy here. They're going to put some hits on that quarterback. They're going to keep the receivers underneath, keep the passing game in front of you, and hit that quarterback, It'll take its toll. That's 2 times in a row they've laid the pads to Brett Meyer.
And remember, the Huskers, black shirt, have not allowed a point in the first quarter, only allowed 3 in the first half. Here's Coleman trying to dance away and nothing doing. He will go down for about a 3.5 to 4 yard loss.
I tell you, Corey McEwen, middle linebacker, he's a reckless type of player. He's intense. He's a free spirit. He doesn't sound like an old Midwestern country boy. He's a free spirit. He's here to have fun, play football, make friends, and that's the kind of guy that he is. And he just enjoys playing the game.
Well, that's probably the final play of the first quarter, and the Black Shirts' record is intact. They have yet to allow a point in the opening stanza of college football here for 2005. ABC Sports presentation of college football will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching ABC Sports.
You're watching college football on ABC Sports Championship Television.
Back in Lincoln, Nebraska, as the Huskers are broken out on top 3-0 by virtue of a 14-play, 68-yard drive and a 30-yard Congan field goal on their opening possession. And the first time the Cyclones of Iowa State have crossed midfield was on the final play of the first quarter. Here is Meyer and company, trying to get on track. I formation, 3 wide receivers. Meyer changing the play at the line of scrimmage, will go back and look toward Flynn, though cuts it upfield and cuts it back for Davis, who will make the catch at about the Huskers' 35-yard line. Everyone talked about the struggles, Coach, with the Nebraska Husker offense, and they came right like gangbusters right out of the box.
Well, we talked about Brett Meyer, but it's been Zach Taylor. His accuracy, 43% coming into this game, but we said he's an accurate quarterback. They're running their routes, they're catching the ball, and he's putting it on the money. And also, when nothing's open, he's taking the ball, taking it down and running the ball. He's had 3 big runs, so it's been all Zach Taylor, his accuracy, his control of this offense.
He was 6 for 6 on an opening drive when he moved all the way down the field, some 70 yards. For the go-ahead field goal. 3rd and short now for the Cyclones. Nice pass. Oh, and Flynn can't hang on. He had a blocker and had some running room on the outside, but just couldn't get both hands on it. That'll bring up 4th and 3, and let's see what the Cyclones are going to do. No guts, no glory, and Dan McCarney says, let's line up and see what we can do.
You know, Dan McCarney has not won here in Lincoln, and you know he wants to make something happen.
1977, here is Meyer back to pass, and he tossed it upfield. First down for the Cyclones. Great pump fake by Brett Meyer to pull the linebacker off the receiver and then make the completion.
Oh, you're exactly right. That play was covered. Brett Meyer was stuck. Well, he talked about him having mobility. Right here, check. Brett Meyer gets the ball. They've got everybody covered. Now his mobility scares the defenders. 13, he comes up. McEwen comes up, leaves the receiver open. He's able to dump it right to him. That's all Brett Meyer, and that's the concern they have for him athletically. 6'4", 210 pounds. This guy is a sensational athlete that a lot of people around the country don't know about.
Best drive of the day for the Cyclones, cutting it back, big hole, left side. That's Greg Coleman, who began the year as the 3rd-string tailback. And, of course, Stevie Hicks has been banged up, leading rusher the last couple of years. And here are the priorities for the Cyclones, Coach.
That's exactly. Establish the run. Why? Because you're going to get your quarterback in trouble if you don't take some heat off of him. Stevie Hicks had a big run there. That's critical. And let's also protect Brett Meyer. When you protect Brett Meyer, you're going to have good things happen. There's still a mismatch between the height of the receivers and the defensive backs of Nebraska.
Cyclones a little shy on running backs. We mentioned Hicks has been banged up since fall camp, and Scales, the backup, was injured also in August. Here's Coleman, the 3rd-stringer, and he cuts it back and falls over the pile. Maybe got a yard or yard and a half down to about the 19. Well, we talked about him trying to establish the run, and Iowa State struggling running the football. In the opener against Illinois State, a 1AA team, they only had 92 yards on the ground. Against Army last Friday, they only had 71 yards against the winless Army team. So they have struggled running the football, and right now they're sitting at -1 rushing for the afternoon. This time they hand it off inside and down the inside, the 15-yard line. It will be enough for the first down for Iowa State.
Greg Coleman started out as their 3rd-team tailback to begin the season. And why have they struggled? Well, Stevie Hicks, their star tailback, is out. Here's Greg Coleman. They're putting a hat. This is a veteran offensive line for Iowa State, a veteran offensive line against the strength of the defense. Here's Carricker, the best defensive lineman for Nebraska. Watch him fight off, make the tackle. But at 3rd and 1, Greg Coleman able to fall for the first down.
Big Aaron Brandt, the right tackle, 3-year starter out of Keeler, Wisconsin. Did a nice job on Carricker in that block up front. Got some running room, and he will dash out of bounds for essentially no gain, maybe back in the original line of scrimmage.
Good job of coverage, not a sack, but they ran him out of bounds for no gain as everybody was covered. Nice job by this Nebraska defense that's made incredible improvement from last year. It starts with pressure, putting on the quarterback, and then doing a great job of not giving up the deep ball. This secondary, again, they've had 3 different coordinators in 3 years. Now they've come back. Kevin Cosgrove has done a great job. They understand the system. That's why they're #1 in the nation scoring defense.
11th play of this drive for the Cyclones. In the game deep in their own territory. Meyer changing the play. Play clock 2 seconds away. Gets the snap off. Pressure. And more pressure. Just throws it away and wisely gets it beyond the line of scrimmage and is outside the tackle box. So it is not grounding.
Here's your replay. Look, you got 5, 6 men up front. They drop 2 inside, bringing the outside backers, they get him moving. More importantly, they have everybody covered. Nowhere to throw it, though. He throws it out of bounds. Kevin Cosgrove right there does not like the blitz. He showed 6 on the line of scrimmage right there, dropped off 2, and rushed 4.
Iowa State 2 of 5 on 3rd down conversions today. 3rd and 10, line of scrimmage of 19. Meyer takes it, heads right, and nothing doing. Great defensive effort. Bo Rude. They're not booing, they're saying rude, rude. The young man whose brother Barrett was the all-time leading tackler here a year ago and left early to head to Tampa Bay with an NFL contract. So Bo takes over and makes a stop on that drive.
Field goal attempt here would be a victory for that defense to hold them to a field goal.
31-yard attempt by Culbertson, who has been banged up through most of the year. Has kicked extra points. This will be his first field goal attempt in 2005. And it is up, and the kick is good. So with 11:43 to play in the half, we are all knotted up here in Lincoln, Nebraska. A 31-yarder by Brett Culbertson puts the Cyclones on the board. All knotted up 3 apiece here in Lincoln, Nebraska. 11:43 to play here in the first half. This the 100th meeting between Iowa State and Nebraska, dating back to 1896. And the Huskers have dominated over the years, although this is disputed somewhat by the Iowa State folks. The Huskers have themselves with 81 wins, 16-2. And this is the first time, though, that Iowa State has come in here ranked and Nebraska has been unranked. A tribute to the kind of job that Dan McCarney has done with the Cyclones. They're in the top 25 again this year.
The one thing is they're both ranked at the top of the North Division of the Big 12 right now, having not played yet, both undefeated, and both in that hunt in the Big 12.
Tony Yelp kicks it off, and right on his own goal line is Tierre Green, the former tailback, and he will not get even to the 15-yard line. Now it's time for the Aflac trivia question. This week's question, well, here in Nebraska territory for the Huskers, before Bill Callahan, there were 10 different head coaches at Nebraska dating back from 1942. How many of those had winning records? We'll let you think on that a little bit.
Before Bill, since 42.
From 1942 forward, prior to Bill Callahan, 10 different head coaches at Nebraska, and how many of them had a winning record here in Huskerland? Taylor back to pass. Nice crossing route by Ross out of the backfield. He'll have the catch for a gain of about 12, or make that 14 and a first down.
Check your dart route to your tailback. This old Bill Walsh route with the 49ers. Watch the tailback go outside and work back inside. There he is, Corey Ross over the middle. We used to call that route dart. Outside, pop inside, get the linebacker running the wrong way. Corey Ross, a great receiver, catching the ball not only on screens but catching it downfield, and fits in really nicely in this West Coast offense.
He was the third leading receiver on this team a year ago with 21 receptions and 269 yards, most by a tailback here at Nebraska since 1969.
Now that's the third time out for Nebraska.
But they saved a delay of game penalty, so they'll take time out, and we'll take it with them. Back with more from Lincoln in just a moment. ABC ABC Sports presentation of college football is brought to you by Aflac. Ask about it at work. By the Home Depot. You can do it. We can help. By Valvoline Motor Oil, the #1 choice of top mechanics everywhere. And by Miller. There's good enough and there's better than it has to be. Miller, good call. Well, that statue there tells you all about the success here at Nebraska, the national championships over the year. Bob Devaney and Tom Osborne sharing 5 of those here in Big Red territory. And Taylor somehow tries to get that ball off as he's falling to his knees. Pass is incomplete.
Hopefully he saw that the play was covered also. You don't want to throw, if you lead the running back in the flat, Corey Ross, he's going to get nailed. And so right there as you're falling down, you're probably happy you just got that ball off, because if you'd have gotten the ball to the receiver.
Yeah, reminiscent of that toss that Eric Ainge made on Monday night for Tennessee in the end zone against LSU. Yeah, got picked off for a touchdown.
Right before they took him out for Rick Clausen for the rest of the night,
Not a wise move. 2nd and 10, shotgun for Taylor. And again wide open up the field. That is Terrence Nunn.
I can't say enough about the accuracy of this quarterback, Zach Taylor. It just wasn't there. The timing of the entire team wasn't there. Drop balls in the opening game against Maine, penalties against Pitt, inconsistencies. This has been a consistent offense. Keep in note, though, no plays over 20 yards. We talked about big plays. That's the sustaining a drive is the first thing. The second thing is deep play.
Yeah, when we watched Taylor yesterday in practice, I wouldn't have thought he would be this accurate in the way he's been throwing the football. And just as we talk about his accuracy, he overthrows the receiver on the sidelines. Now, earlier we asked you our Aflac trivia question. Before Bill Callahan, there have been 10 different head coaches in Nebraska since 1942. How many of those had winning records? Well, I know you can name a couple of them. How about Bob Devaney?
Absolutely. Tom Osborne.
83% for Devaney. Osborne and Frank Solich. Those are the only 3. How about that? The only 3 coaches with a winning record here in Nebraska. Who would have thunk it, huh?
42 through 62. No winning coaches. Unbelievable.
Taylor drops it off out of the backfield. That is Ross, and he will scamper up near the 45 and gain a couple. That'll still bring up a 3rd and 7.
We've talked about the success of Nebraska and the consistency and accuracy they've had, but Iowa State's really done a great job of keeping this game played in front of them. I'm a little bit surprised because John Skledaney, the defensive coordinator for Iowa State, says we don't want them to have a controlled offense. They're giving them the control, but they're not giving up the score.
3rd and long. Here's Taylor, has the receiver at the 40, still on his feet, and will be brought down at the Iowa State 35-yard line. A gain of 20, talking about plays of 20 yards or more.
There it is.
That'll do it.
That's correct. Here, ISO the receivers right here. Watch 84 right there at the top of your screen. He'll bend over the inside. You see the tight end pull the linebacker down. Grant Mulkey, kind of a scrappy receiver, one of their backup receivers, plays in the slot. Defensive back takes the underneath receiver, finds an opening there. Not a real fast receiver. He's got to be playing against zone. He's got to be sitting down in pockets. Did a great job there.
Husker offense only has 6 plays of 20 yards or more in the first 3 games. Just have another one. And what accuracy there. That pass completed to Mark LaFleur, the senior out of Omaha, for a gain of 11. And, Coach, you're just picking this secondary of Iowa State apart.
Most of these receivers for Nebraska look like possession receivers. Not real quick guys. Got to see some more man coverage. Got to see tight man coverage. Leave a safety in the middle of the field so it doesn't go deep. But you better jump on these guys. Get under their skin a little bit. Anybody can catch that ball when you're not around them.
Nebraska, 11 first downs, 172 yards of total offense. And they're only averaging 271 a game. Again, across the middle, a crossing route. 10-yard line inside the 10 for another Husker first down. That is Marlon. A gain of 13, by the way. Taylor, what a remarkable effort he's had here in throwing the football.
Zach Taylor's not picking one particular receiver either.
Yeah, that's Isaiah Fluellen, by the way, who grew up in Germany.
Isaiah Fluellen plays behind France Hardy. And Taylor doesn't pick a receiver. He takes whoever's open, throws it to everybody. Now the defense reduces down and is up tight because there's not much room left.
First and goal for the Huskers. Motion. Here is Taylor looking for Ross off the side. Tucks it across the middle and in and out of the hands of the intended receiver. If he holds on, it's a Husker touchdown.
Dane Todd, fullback, sneaks out of the backfield. He gets caught up in the blocking. You lose sight of him. He sneaks out of the backfield. He's open. He's been pretty well sure-handed. Watch now as your fullback sneaks out of the backfield. He'll do the little dart route, come back across the middle, find an opening. Just catch it. Catch it.
Well, you got to catch that football.
That's why you're a fullback. Got those big arms for blocking.
That's why they ask you to block people, huh?
Yeah. No, actually, he does have good hands. Catches the ball in the flat quite often.
Second and goal for the Huskers offense, and has only generated 3 touchdowns in 3 games this year. Run left, big opening, Ross, and gets inside the 5 and will be shoved out of bounds at about the 4. Once again, Tim Dobbins making the stop.
Yeah, here's the stretch zone play. Watch the stretch zone play. He'll keep coming wide, then he finds him a hole and goes to the hole. That's one of the leftovers of old Nebraska football. A strong, physical zone play, Denver Broncos type of zone play that you see so often in the professional football.
We told you Nebraska, 8 different receivers have caught a pass. They've thrown the ball 26 times and only run it 9 times, but they've generated 193 yards of total offense. Taylor across the middle, wide open for the touchdown, and France Hardy can't hold on.
I count 6. I count 6 drop balls. 6 drop balls, 2 of them right there would have led to a touchdown this drive. So, you know, Zach Taylor, incredible job. Now, people say, well, why isn't the offense doing everything? The next step, catch all those balls.
Bill Callahan says we have 2 shots to score. If we hold on to either one of those passes, we got 6. And now,
if you're Iowa State, you're sitting there thinking, gosh, if I get out of this point right now, giving up a field goal, even if they make it here, that's just 6 points.
A 21-yard attempt by Jordan Congdon. The freshman has already hit from 30 today to try to give the Huskers the lead. The kick is up, and it is no good. Wide right for Congdon, and boy, Callahan is fit to be tied, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, Congdon's missed 3 out of his last 4 field goals that he's kicked. Last 2 against Pittsburgh. He missed 1 there. That's a wasted opportunity. Wasted opportunity. If you're Nebraska and you fought so hard to get this offense going. The bad snap here is a little bit bobbled right here. Watch the snap. But actually, not that bad of a snap. Just bobbled a little bit, and he pushes it off to the right.
I tell you, when you're trying to get your offense on track, Coach, and you have an 11-play, 79-yard drive to the shadow of your opponent's end zone at the 4-yard line and come away with no points, that's a dagger in the heart right there.
I know, and for the offense to be playing so well, but Iowa State's got to be pumped up.
Well, the Cyclones dodge a huge bullet here. We are still knotted up as Meyer once again will hand it off inside. And Coleman will get maybe a couple.
I tell you, this defensive line for Nebraska does a great job of keeping the linebackers freed up where you can't get a blocker on them. Stuart Bradley there, linebacker, senior linebacker for Nebraska, wide open, makes the hit. I'm sorry, junior linebacker. When you got these big defensive linemen, these linemen are all big. 300 in the middle, both defensive ends big. Their job is to keep that offensive line off the linebackers, free the linebackers up to make tackles.
2nd and 8 for the Cyclones as this crowd comes to life. And Meyer has a receiver at the 25, and he can't break through. He'll still be shy of the first down after a gain of 6. Now it's time for our Pacific Life game summary. Nebraska leads the nation in scoring defense, and here's an example of why they've gotten it done so well. Smothering pressure on Meyer. Even the freshman gets him down. Only allowing 16 points in 3 games. They've allowed 3 today on what has been a very efficient offense. 3rd and short for the Cyclones. Meyer has a receiver and nearly gets it picked off. Todd Blythe, the intended receiver. Daniel Bullock's got a hand on it.
Watch the receiver here. Now watch your inside slot receiver. Ask yourself, is this pass interference? Is the offhand of the defensive back on the back? I would have to say yes, it was a call. I would have to say backhand was on the back of the receiver. The official missed the pass interference call there.
Blankenship has already hit 2 over 50 yards, 56 and 51, averaging 53.5 yards a punt. This one a little bit shorter, but toward the near side. And Courtney Grigsby taking it at his own 35. Has some running room and now will be corralled at his own 46-yard line. And that's where the Huskers will take over after a 36-yard punt and a 9-yard return. Back at Lincoln, we were all knotted up with just under 7 minutes to play here in the first half. And coming up at halftime on our Valvoline Halftime Show, John, Craig, and Aaron will have highlights and analysis. Plus, Aaron hits the streets to get the New Yorkers' point of view on college football. That should be very interesting. Update the thriller in East Lansing and also what's happening with the top-ranked team out in Tempe, Arizona, where Southern Cal takes on Arizona State.
They're talking about nothing but the Yankees up in New York. You know that.
There's plenty of college football fans up in the city.
I don't know where they are.
Zach Taylor trying to get the offense moving again and right over the middle. That'll get it done in a hurry. Still on his feet. And the 5'6" Corey Ross pushing Tim Dobbins up the field for a gain of 28.
All right, here's your replay. As we come back, we've got the tailback. He's going to rock to the outside. Plant and come back. It's the old dart route, I call it. There he's got the linebacker. Working to the outside, finds a big hole. It makes the play.
Taking a look at the fifth-year senior tailback out of Denver, Colorado. Taylor gets some pressure, gets the pass off, and a hard lick there by LaMarcus Hicks on Terrence Nunn.
I tell you, this Corey Ross, he's just done an incredible job. He carries almost the burden of their entire running attack through the year. 7 carries right now for 20 yards. But in his receptions, 3 for 44, makes him so good. 5'6". Now I'm 5'5" and a half, and I talked to him yesterday. He's legit 5'6", I can tell. But he is about 6'5" when it comes to heart and it comes to ability.
And what a great personality.
Yes.
A fun-loving young man. Loves being a part of this Husker. I've been here a long time. Saw a championship teams at 3 head coaches.
Oh! You hate to see him miss that one. I think that the inside receiver, Grant Mulkey, on the flag route. The one thing that Taylor does have is a nice deep ball. He throws a soft, catchable deep ball. This is 6 points here if he does not overthrow the inside receiver on the flag route. 3rd and long now. Now you got a tougher situation. Let's see what you can do.
Well, they dropped 2 short touchdown passes on the previous possession. He said, that one was on me. I overthrew him. 3rd and 7. Inside pressure, and he throws the pass, and he just can't get there as Isaiah Fluellen trying to break free, but good coverage in the secondary.
Yeah, I felt he was covered. The outside receiver was covered there by good pass coverage. I'd have come down, had your tight end dragging across underneath. Open would have had to pick up a couple of yards running for the first down, but it wasn't there.
Well, we'll see if Callahan was going to try to kick it again here, Coach Callahan.
Well, when you got a great defense and you're concerned about your kicker, this is what you're doing.
You saw the frustration a moment ago on the missed 22-yarder, and he'll put it in Taylor's hands. Pretty good protection over the middle and stumbling down. I think he's shy of the first down by about a yard.
Absolutely. If he could have kept his feet. He was stumbling, and as he stumbled, of course, he was tackled, but he could have kept his feet. It would have been right to the line of scrimmage. But look.
It is a Cyclone first down. It is a game of inches, and if he can just get one more foot under him, it's a first down.
You see right here, he starts to stumble. Before the defender gets to him, he starts to stumble right here. If he can keep his feet, yes, he's going to be tackled, but he's going to carry that tackle for the first down.
Yeah, the footing is excellent here. They had a brand new field turf they put down in the summer, and it is quite soft. In fact, some of the coaches said it's a little slower than they would like until it gets sort of worn in a little bit.
Well, there was an 18-inch crown left over from the old days, and they kicked it down to a 9-inch crown with a new surface. And so I guess since they don't run the wishbone anymore, or the option, you don't need that 18-inch crown.
They always talk about running downhill with the option attack, and that's what they're talking about. You got a foot and a half from the middle of the end of the field. Here's Meyer, gets it batted away. Oh, great pressure up the middle. Jay Moore from the left end position.
Right here, Jay Moore looking right here. Just bull rush, pushes his defender right back into the quarterback, gets his hand up, knocks the ball down. That's the kind of pressure that has led to the 20 sacks. Not having to blitz anybody to get pressure on the quarterback. 2 sacks already, but numerous pressures on Brett Meyer.
Jay Moore, one of the most improved defensive players in the spring of 2004. Continuing to improve, and that pass complete, and it'll be right at the first down sticks, depending on the spot. It looks to be about a half a yard beyond the margin, so it'll be a first down after a gain of 11 for Iowa State. There's a look at R.J. Sumrall, who made the reception.
R.J.'s the 4th receiver they will use. They have 3 receivers. When they go to the 4th, R.J. is the 4th that comes in, as now they go to 1 back, 4 wide receiver set.
They've doubled him up on first downs. Here's Meyer looking way upfield, and his double coverage. Oh, and trying to fight his way through is Todd Blythe. And the Husker partisans wanted a flag on Blythe for maybe a bit of a push-off.
Well, you know what? It was great positioning by Bullocks on the play. Safety right here. You'll see Daniel Bullocks, the safety, on the play, covering Todd Blythe. He's got great position. And, yeah, I mean, both receiver and defender were kind of into it. I don't have a whole lot of problem with this one.
They could each make a case, Your Honor.
Right, yeah. I mean, if you're the receiver, don't let him intercept it, but both of them made a good play.
2nd and 10. Only 98 total yards for Iowa State here in the first half. Great catch behind the line of scrimmage and battling up across the 35 as he did not get out of bounds, and the clock will continue to tick away. And that will bring up a 3rd and 2.
There's the catch by Austin Flynn as he makes the turn. Austin Flynn, leading receiver on the team this year. He was a quarterback. That's what he played before Brett Meyer. He started as a quarterback as a redshirt freshman. Has done a nice job moving the receiver this spring. Another very athletic wide receiver.
Flynn, a junior out of Deer Park, Texas. Iowa State only 2 of 7 on 3rd down conversions. Here comes the pressure. Quick throw, wide open, the fullback at the 50, 45, and rumbling down to the 43-yard line.
Okay.
That is Ben Barkema.
All right, you're going to see the play. Watch the fullback. As they blitz the outside man 13, the free safety still got to come over and cover. Did not come back and cover the fullback as he slipped out and makes the big play. Anytime you blitz from the side of the fullback, you've got to cover with someone else. Right there, Stuart Bradley did not slide in and cover the fullback.
Barkema, the redshirt sophomore out of Muscatine, Iowa. So here in the final minutes of the first half, Iowa State on the reverse, got some running room. 40, 35, and leaps over the defender down near the first down sticks. That is John Davis. After another gain of 11 and another Iowa State first down. And coach, this black shirt defense that was so stifling in the first quarter, struggling here in the final minutes of the half.
Well, you've hit a couple of big plays. It's really a couple of mental mistakes. A mental mistake, let the fullback get open. There's an over pursuit there to allow the reverse. Right now, you just got to stiffen up now. You just got to stiffen up. Hold them right now. Force them to take an attempt at the field goal.
Dan McCarney cheering his troops on. The Huskers have not allowed but 3 points in the first half all year. That was a 51-yard field goal by Wake Forest, as McCarney will call a timeout and talk it over, and we'll take it with them. Back with more from Lincoln in just a moment. Back in Lincoln, Nebraska, a sellout crowd of over 77,000 strong watching the Big 12 opener between the homestanding Huskers and the 23rd-ranked Cyclones of Iowa State. All knotted up at 3 apiece here. 3:38 to play in the first half, and Iowa State threatening here to try to push it in before halftime. Meyer back to pass, and long arm ones out to the 25-yard line. And one of the players we haven't seen much of in the first half is Iowa State's tailback, Stevie Hicks. For more, here's Trini Kusneric.
Well, guys, Stevie Hicks at one point went to the locker room in the first half. He has since returned. He is in full uniform, but has yet to take the field again. We'll try to find out if he will return in the second half, guys.
Thank you, Trini. The word was he was injured all through fall camp and wasn't able to practice much and hasn't been very effective. Only carried the ball 9 times for 22 yards at Army last Friday night. His best game thus far of the year was the game when they played their arch rival Iowa when he had a big day. That was the Stevie Hicks of old, but otherwise he's been sort of nicked up through much of the early part of this year. 2nd and 10. Myers a receiver. That is Flynn at the 25 as we head back to New York and check in with John Saunders.
Doc, surprise in the SEC where Alabama is really putting it to Florida. Brody Croyle, 65 yards with Keith Brown, who shows tremendous speed here to break away. And right now, Alabama has a 24-3 lead over the unbeaten Gators. And Alabama looking to go to 3-0 in conference play as well.
Yeah, one of the Florida defensive ends predicted a blowout this week. I'm sure that was some bulletin board material. Oh, up the middle. Pressure by Stuart Bradley, the junior from Salt Lake City, left outside linebacker, and he nails Meyer in the chop.
That's the 3rd sack of the night. They haven't blitzed much this year. There's the difference. Stuart Bradley, strong inside linebacker, comes to the outside. You'll see him come from the outside right here. As he comes in, free, nobody touches him. Puts the bonnet right on Brett Meyer. That's 3 sacks, about 3 hurries, and a lot of hits on Brett Meyer.
Bradley was a leading tackler a year ago, his 3rd sack of the year here in 2005. The lone returning starter for that guy's black shirt defense. Talking about Kevin Cosgrove. Final couple minutes of the first half coming your way when we come back in a moment. And back at a sold-out Memorial Stadium along with the coach Terry Bowden and Trini Kuznirik, I'm Jerry Punch. Final 2 minutes of the first half as the Cyclones of Iowa State are trying to drive, and these Nebraska black shirts are bowing their neck. 20 sacks in the first 3 games, including a school-tying 11 in the opener against the Black Bears of Maine. They have had 3 today, the most recent one a moment ago by Stuart Bradley for a loss of 9.
Most of their sacks have come from the defensive line. That one by Stuart Bradley, linebacker.
The Cyclones 1 of 1 on 4th down conversions today. Here comes the pressure. Meyer tries to get it off and throwing it downfield, and we'll get flags coming from the secondary.
Now, I'm going to be shocked if that's not offensive pass interference. Defender had perfect position. Grigby had perfect position. It looked to be.
The 2 officials will confer down there, and the field judge, Tim McLean.
Before I stick my foot in my mouth, let's listen to them.
They could have called that one probably either way. We'll see.
Well, take a look at it. I look like the defender. They're going to call that one. I bet on Grigby.
Pass interference on the
defense. They are going to call him.
Number 2, 15 yards for the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Yeah, see right there, you see Grigby, he doesn't get his back. He doesn't get position. He's turned into the receiver, and therefore he's not letting the receiver run up his back. He had position, but he needed to turn his back to him. Good call by the official. Grigby had positioning on the receiver. There was no way to catch the ball, but he turned into the receiver.
I like the way they conferred about the call. They talked it over. Did you see what I saw? Then they went to the referee, Drew George, who made the call. 1st and 10 for the Cyclones. Meyer has a receiver breaking free at the 15. That again is Austin Flynn.
Wally Muhammad, big defensive end for Nebraska, put another lick on Brett Meyer. I'm going to tell you, he's fighting and working for everything he's got today. Sack, hit, sack. Got him in position right now, though, on that critical 4th down. And a good note right now, both teams have ignored the field goal. Neither team, I think, feels comfortable with their field goal kickers from about the 25-yard line out.
I remember Brett Culbertson, the Cyclone kicker, has been hurt most of the year, and Tony Yelk is dealing with a groin pull. Hand off to the tailback for another couple of yards. That is Greg Coleman.
You would have to think they are now in range for Culbertson to kick the ball. He had the 31-yarder earlier, but obviously they don't believe his injury is overcome sufficiently to kick a deeper kick. So right now, if they were not to make it, I could imagine kicking the ball at this point.
And remember, the Huskers have not allowed a touchdown in the first half this year, only 3 points, and those on a field goal by Wake Forest as time expired in the half.
This is where the height of the receivers comes into play.
Oh, nice pass to get it away by Meyer.
Critical spot here. It's going to be a critical spot.
And that's very, very close to the first down. It's going to be spotted right at the mark, about a half-a-yard shot.
The twisting of the receivers. Now watch him fight through the tackle. Where does the ball go down?
Well, you got to talk this one over a little bit. Dan McCarney wants a timeout. It'll bring up 4th and about 6 inches. They'll talk it over, and we'll take a break and come back to Lincoln in a moment. Dan McCarney's Cyclones in their 13th play of a drive, trying to punch it in here in the final 33 seconds of the first half. And Lincoln, Nebraska all knotted up as 23rd ranked Iowa State comes in to a place where they haven't won since Disco was king.
And Dan McCartney's never won. In fact, he's never had a close ball game. Of course, you think about the 90s, they were national champions. Nobody had close ball games, but he's never had a close loss here. I think you come out here and you find a way to get this first half. You're going to come into Lincoln, Nebraska and win this game.
Well, they're going to kick it, Coach. They're going to try to take the points. It's probably a very wise move here. Yeah. These games are, it's a matter of points, and they've been hard to come by.
He's going to take his points right now.
If he can get them. Brett Culbertson from 26 yards away. Remember, he's been banged up, and that kick is up, and it is no good.
No good.
So both teams missing field goal opportunities in the second quarter, and we stay knotted up at 3 apiece.
The snap looks perfect. I don't see anything problem. It's put ball right down. There it is. Ball's put right down. Culbertson's been injured. He's not consistent right now. They chose not to use him last time. They felt like they were close enough. He could not kick it through. I'm not sure if they'll use him anymore at the field goal position because, again, they had that ball set up perfectly.
Well, he's trying to overcome injury. 13-play drive, 74 yards, 5 minutes and 2 seconds off the clock, and 0 points for the Cyclones. And Zach Taylor will take a knee, and we'll go to halftime, all knotted up here in Lincoln, Nebraska. So we are at halftime here in Lincoln, Nebraska, as the Huskers come this way. And the Husker offense started quickly with a full-length 68-yard drive and a 30-yard field goal in the opening possession. The only scoring play for Iowa State, a 13-play, 67-yard drive, and likewise a 31-yard field goal. Let's head down to the sidelines where Trini is caught up with the head coach.
Thanks very much, guys. Well, you have to be pleased with the way the offense is moving the ball, but I would expect that you'll stress no mistakes, no drop balls. That's killing you guys right now.
Well, absolutely. It's just execution right now, but we're getting more familiarized with what we're doing. We got a good feel for the coverage. We just left 10 points on the field in the first half. That's a killer to come out of here with a 3-3 tie at the half.
All right, thank you very much, Coach. Best of luck in the second half, guys.
All right, thank you, Trini. Callahan feeling pretty fortunate to come out here tied up 3-3. Our score at halftime, all knotted 3 apiece. Coming up next, the Valvoline Halftime Show. John, Craig, and Aaron. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television. All knotted up at halftime here in Lincoln, Nebraska, 3 apiece, and along with Coach Terry Bowden, I'm Jerry Punch, and Coach, it's all been about missed opportunities in the first half.
Yeah, no turnovers, no big plays. The offenses aren't doing much. I keep thinking about that black shirt defense. 4 touchdowns on defense this year. They've got to find a way to make the play.
Well, what does Dan McCarney do in the second half? Let's find out. He's with Trini Kuznieri.
Thanks very much, guys. Well, Coach McCarney, your running game has struggled. Stevie Hicks spent most of the time on the bench. Will he return in the second half?
No, absolutely not. He gave it a shot. He's not ready. We got to win without Stevie Hicks. Make more plays. Keep playing great defense. We thought this was going to be a 4-quarter game. That's what it's going to be, and we got to find a way to win this thing.
All right, thank you very much. Best of luck.
Short and to the point, Dan McCarney. It's going to be a 4th-quarter ball game. He hasn't won here. He's 0-5 in Lincoln. They've not won here in Lincoln since 1977. Earl Bruce, the head coach for the Cyclones, back in. Nebraska will kick it off, and the Cyclones will get the ball first on offense here in the second half. That one will bound out, and they'll take it at their own 20-yard line. Now let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary, which is our first half stats. Here they are. Take a look at the rush yards. 4 yards total rushing, including the sacks now, by the way, for Iowa State. And how about 229 yards total offense for Nebraska, only averaging 271 a game coming in.
Yeah, though the rushing has been ugly, neither team turned the ball over. Only 2 penalties for the day, so pretty clean ball game, if not very pretty.
Crowd of over 77,000 partisan Husker fans come to life. We'll see what the Cyclones can do in the second half, trying to run the football, and they will lose a yard or a little more on that opening carry by Greg Coleman.
Now that Stevie Hicks is not playing this game, I don't think you go out there and try to establish too much run. Run enough to keep the defense honest. You're not going to win with Greg Coleman. He was your third-team tailback coming in. Run the ball enough to keep him from pressuring Brett Meyer, but he's got to find a way with that outstanding receiver core to hit some big plays and move that ball downfield.
2nd and 10, no gain on that one. I formation for Meyer and the Cyclones. Back to pass, gets some protection, throws it up, and did he get a foot in? They're going to say yes, he made the catch. And a couple of flags come in late from across the field. A little pushing and shoving there on a couple of routes downfield. We'll see what they call. Oh, ineligible downfield for Iowa State.
Ineligible receiver downfield. You'll see right now as we look at the replay, a nice out route, stands on the sideline, makes the nice, keeps the 1 foot.
Ineligible downfield, number 63 on the offense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still 2nd down.
That's Scott Stevenson, the transfer from Minnesota, who's only playing his 4th ever game as an offensive player. He was a defensive lineman for 2 years at Minnesota and has done a whale of a job coming in as a starting center there for the Cyclones, but got beyond the line of scrimmage, and it'll cost them some yards and bringing up a 2nd and 15. Hands it off to Coleman on the draw, has some running room, 20-25, and he will still be about 4 yards shy of the first down after that scamper for 11 yards.
Nice job of mixing in the run with the pass. Greg Coleman again, 2nd long, great time. You're backed up. The offense of Nebraska is not scoring, so give the draw. There's the draw. He finds the hole, makes positive yardage, gets you now into a 3rd and 4 yard situation where you have a chance to make the first down. And remember, you don't have to take huge chances down here backed up with a time 3-3.
That was the longest rush from scrimmage of the day for Iowa State, 11 yards. 3rd and 4. Meyer has a receiver at the 35, wide open, downfield 45-40. It's a foot race to the end zone. And diving to get the ankles at the 15-yard line. R.J. Sumrall in a touchdown saving tackle by Corey McEwen at the 15.
Watch your inside slot receiver, number 5, R.J. Sumrall. You see the quarterback drop back. He just does about a 10-yard hook. 10-yard hook, and here's what happens. He makes Daniel Bullocks miss the tackle. And now it's a foot race. It's a foot race, and that's what you need right here today. Somebody has got to make a play and excite the offense. There was nothing special about that offensive play. 10-yard hook route, missed tackle by Daniel Bullocks. Big play.
Sumrall, a track star in high school in the 110-meter hurdles and 300-meter hurdles for 60 yards on that long gain a moment ago, and about a yard on that one by Ryan Cook.
Yeah, when Ryan Cook comes in, he's likely going to get the ball. 5 touchdowns for a fullback who doesn't get in at fullback very often. When he does, Cook gets the ball quite often on short yardage goal line.
All about shifting momentum and a gain of inches. Both these teams wasting opportunities in the second quarter with long drives. Coming up empty, both missing field goals. We were all nodded at halftime at 3 apiece.
We've got a mistake over here on the end now. There they come out with the linebacker.
Quick toss, picked off at the 12-yard line. Oh, right in front of him is Jay Moore, standing right in front of the tight end at the 12.
I'm going to tell you, this caught the quarterback off guard. Watch number 44, defensive end, Jay Moore on the play. Number 44 right here on the defensive end. He backs up. It's a hot route. The quarterback never saw him back into coverage.
El Callahan loves what he sees. That pass intended for Brandon Tinlin, the backup tight end, and more, showing the experience that indeed he has as a junior out of Elkhorn, Nebraska. Picks off the Meyer pass.
Yeah, when you drop that lineman, the quarterback doesn't know to watch him in the lanes.
All right, Ross will get the opening carry the second half and may lose about a yard. Tim Dobbins has just been a smothering tackler from his middle linebacker's position and makes that stop there.
Big 245-pound middle linebacker, a senior. Seen a lot of snaps, played a lot of football. You know, there's no Nebraska mystique to a guy like him who's won 2 out of his last 3 against Nebraska. You know he'd like to get one here in Lincoln.
Back to pass. Taylor has a receiver, and it'll be enough for the first down. We take a look at our progressive drive summary and look at the Nebraska possessions here in the first half.
I mean, the key ones are right here. The first one and the fourth one. Big opening drive for a field goal. And then the fourth one, 12 plays, 7-9. And they missed the field goal. They missed 2 touchdown passes on that one. They could have put themselves up 7 more points, dropped a touchdown pass or a pass that would have gone to the 1 or 2, and then missed the field goal.
Yeah, Congdon missed a 22-yard field goal after all those yards and time off the clock. Here again up at the 40. Pass complete will be beyond the first down sticks. Gain of 14 for another Nebraska first down. That is Nate Swift coming in as a wide receiver.
Again, all we're going to see is the hook route. Your receiver right here is going to run the hook route. The slot receiver turns around, catches the ball. And this is the same play that Summerall took the ball against Nebraska and made the big gain against. It's a hook route. Now you either break a tackle or you make a tackle.
Great story. Nate Smith worked his way toward the front of the charts in spring practice. First player to commit to Nebraska in 2004. And down goes Taylor. Pressure from Brent Curvey, a junior defensive tackle who's been a force inside for the Cyclones for the last couple of years.
Curvey's got great quickness. He's able to beat his block and come up through the mid, right up through the middle. He's got great quickness, comes through the middle, makes the sack before Zach Taylor has a chance. When you don't have a blitz, when it's just 4 men rushing and he beats his block, the quarterback doesn't know to get rid of the ball because it's not a sack. Not a sack, great play.
Curvey returned 2 fumbles for touchdowns a year ago in consecutive games against Baylor and Kansas. First sack of the day for the Cyclones. Brings up a 2nd and long. Pressure. Middle screen to Ross. Has some running room. Cuts it back. It's a foot race. Ike Ross cutting back. Back inside. 10, 5. Touchdown, Cornhuskers.
Pass complete to number 4.
A 70-yard middle screen and a great call by Jay Norvell, the offensive coordinator, to take advantage of that pressure coming from Iowa State.
And he hit it perfect. A blitz, hit the screen.
Here is Congdon, who missed a 21-yarder in the second quarter. And the kick is up, and it is wobbly, but it is good. And the 5th-year senior, Ike Ross, cuts it back. 2 great cuts. And from 70 yards away, he had 6 points. The Huskers up 10-3. And yeah, Zach Taylor loved it all the way. Back in a moment. Nebraska goes up 10-3 here in Lincoln on a 5-play, 83-yard scoring drive. That man there, Corey Ross, 70 yards away. A middle screen, taking advantage. A great call by Bill Callahan and offensive coordinator Jay Norvell. And that kickoff will go out of bounds. That's a miscue there. That'll give Iowa State the football at the 35.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. That's 15 free yards as you would have gotten into the end zone. But there he is right there. Corey Ross, the smallest guy on the field, the biggest man on this Nebraska offense. 4 catches, 114 yards and a touchdown on 4 catches already.
And remember, the last time we saw that guy right there, He was picked off by Jay Moore. Brett Meyer picked off by Jay Moore. Moore's interception at the Nebraska 12-yard line set up the drive. So points off of turnovers. Big today here for the Huskers. Here's Meyer back to pass again. Has the receiver. That again is Tinlin, the backup tight end. As we take a look at our Chrysler passing playbook and look at that score just a moment ago.
Now watch your tailback. He'll come settle down, and now your blockers will come out. And there they go. You've got the blitz coming on, so the quarterback will have them right in his face. Look how close it is. Great block by number 50, and then zut, zut. Go that way. Nope, let's go this way. And let's cut back that way.
Yeah, the nice cut back and then cut it back twice.
I couldn't believe he had like 1 or 2 extra cuts in there, but he got the score from it.
2nd and 3. Here is Meyer. Got to get rid of it. It's going to go down, and big time sack by Corey McEwen.
I'm telling you, they're bringing 4, then they bring 6, then they bring 4. 20 sacks coming into the game, 4 more today. I mean, that's been the key. They're either knocking him down or sacking him.
Minus 13 yards. That one on McEwen. He came in as a leading tackler. Sophomore out of Naperville, Illinois.
Now playing behind the chains like this, 3rd and 15, playing behind the chains. Remember, he got height advantage with almost every receiver. Iowa State has a height advantage.
3rd and long. Meyer gets some time, has a receiver behind the defenders, and makes the catch at the 30-yard line. That is Austin Flynn, the athletic former quarterback who made the change in the spring and came in as a leading receiver, able to run by 2 defenders and make that catch.
You know what? Every pass play has a clock on it. It gets off in 1.3 seconds. It gets off in 2 seconds. Anytime you let Brett Meyer watch him, anytime he scrambles outside the pocket, now the clock is changed. Now the defenders don't know to hold on to the receiver, don't know to keep covering him because the mental clock goes off, and Brett Meyer gets the open receiver behind him. A real mental mistake for the black shirt defense.
Lets them out of a big-time hole back in the shadows of their own end zone. Cut back this time by Coleman. And Adam Carricker makes a stop. And by the way, if you're looking for Stevie Hicks, he's been in the ball game for 1 carry today for a handful of yards. Hicks came in for the very first carry of today and for 4 yards and has not been back. He is now in street clothes on the sideline there for the Iowa State Cyclones. He's their leading rusher. There's a look at Stevie Hicks, the junior out of Omaha.
If they can get a few draws out of Greg Coleman, he can pop one, keep the defense off of Brett Meyer.
Little tight end motion. Meyer looking upfield. Nice pass again to Flynn, who almost breaks the tackle. That'll be enough for another Cyclone first down.
I don't think they realized how important their red zone offense was until it's obvious they've lost a little confidence because their kicker has been hurt. He has not come back and kicked real well. And so now that red zone offense getting touchdowns instead of field goals becomes valuable. I mean, even more valuable.
Yeah, Culbertson missed a 26-yarder in the second quarter. Iowa State driving, trying to tie it up here as we approach the middle of the third quarter. Over the middle and gonna get a flag. Bullocks might have gotten in a little bit early.
Yeah, it's his backside arm, Jerry, and we'll see this again if we show the replay here. We'll see the backside arm. Let's tear the penalty right here. I get ahead of myself, but buddy, that's good.
Pass interference, defense, number 14. Penalty occurred less than 15 yards from the previous spot. Ball will be placed in the spot of the foul.
Watch the end zone, 14 right here. You'll see him. Watch his backside arm, clearly on the back of the receiver. The number 1 mistake by defensive backs in college football. You'll see it again. Backside arm. You got to keep it off. You got to keep it off. That's the second big mistake for Daniel Bullocks. Of course, he missed the tackle on the big run and catch by Summerall on the last series.
Yeah, there are his numbers. He's a Thorpe Award candidate, as well as the Lott Trophy candidate, Ronnie Lott Trophy. goes to the Impact Defensive Player of the Year in college football. First and goal, and the crowd getting into it here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Here's Meyer on the quarterback draw, 3-2. And Stuart Bradley there makes the stop after a 5-yard gain.
Great call. This was almost there. They had the hole. Barely. Great tackle by Stuart Bradley. They had the great call made. Huge hole opened up, and then Bradley jumped in. I think McEwen got a hand on him also as Bradley made the tackle.
This game's almost been about mirror images.
Yeah, you know, and this is the Dan McCarney, what he's done. They bounce right back. They give up a big play. I mean, the old Iowa State would never have done this. They're right back. Let's see if they can jam it in there and tie this thing up.
They traded field goals in the first quarter. They each missed a field goal in the second quarter. A touchdown by Nebraska in the third quarter. And now Iowa State trying to get there with big Ryan Cook, the 6'1", 245-pound senior out of Laurelville, Iowa. And he can't quite get in.
Well, they have not played a defense as strong as this one. You see Adam Kierker right there, the #1 defensive lineman on that group. Big old 6'6", 290-pound defensive end. This team is physical, 2 300-pounders inside, big defensive ends, physical linebackers.
Third and goal. Critical play in this drive here for the Cyclones.
Watch for the naked bootleg, watch for the rollout.
2 tight ends. Here he comes. Oh, the toss in the end zone. Touchdown, Iowa State.
Yeah, you could almost see the naked bootleg coming. It just was the perfect play in that situation.
Nice effort there by the backup tight end Brandon Tinlin, sophomore out of San Diego.
Yeah, when you saw Ryan Cook make nothing on the play before that, and you had a 3rd and 2, you know you can play action the first time and decide on 4th down.
Here's Culbertson for the extra point to tie it up. The kick is up and good, and it's monkey see, monkey do. Back and forth as we are all knotted up here in the third quarter. That completion to Tinlin puts 7 on the board for the Cyclones, and we are tied at 10 apiece. ABC Sports coverage of college football being brought to you by Jeep. The all-new 2006 Jeep Commander. It's your world. Take command. By Pacific Life. For insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life. The power to help you succeed. By Bud Light. Smooth and refreshing Bud Light. Great taste for your great times. And by IBM. Become an on-demand business. IBM can help. Dan McCarney's Cyclones battling back here in the third quarter. Meyer 4 of 4 passing on that drive for 68 yards and a touchdown. Consuming 4 minutes and 21 seconds, an 8-play drive. And the 2-yard reception in the end zone ties it up here with just 5 minutes and 39 seconds to play in the third quarter.
Well, football's so much about confidence. Dan McCarney has brought that to Iowa State. They've won 8 of their last 9 ball games heading back to last year. 2 out of 3 against Nebraska. They feel like they're going to win.
All right, Nebraska will take it over on their own 20-yard line as we head down to the sidelines and check in with Trenny Kuznirik. Trenny?
Well, guys, after Nebraska's last touchdown, quarterback Zach Taylor went up to every single offensive lineman and personally thanked them as to say, hey, that touchdown was because of you guys. Same thing just happened on the Iowa State sideline. Brett Meyer walked up, said, thanks, guys. That touchdown was because of you. Quarterbacks understand where those scores come from, guys.
They're both smart kids. That's why they play quarterback. They're smart enough to know who butters their bread.
It's all about, as our buddy Keith Jackson would say, all about the big uglies up front. Oh, that little swing pass outside, and great pursuit by Tim Dobbins on Terrence Nunn to make the stop after the gain of a couple.
A little slip screen out there, just wanting to get a blocker out there, just like a wide sweep. Throw the ball out there, get a blocker, just like a toss sweep to the outside. In plays like that, you're not playing 11-on-11, you're playing 2-on-2. But the defense did a great job of making the tackle and not letting him break 3.
These two teams here, both situated in the Big 12 North, coming in with unbeaten non-conference schedules at 3-0, the first conference game, and pressure. Jason Berryman will take down Zach Taylor. And that's the second sack of the day for Iowa State, a loss of -7 yards. And speaking of Berryman, what a story he was. I mean, last year everyone talked about the negatives with Jason Berryman, the fact that he was convicted of theft and assault and spent some 8 months in jail. But here's the part I like about his story. He paid his way when he got out to stay in school. He went to summer school, kept his grades up, and went back to Dan McCarney and said, you know what, I want a chance to come back. And you got to love McCarney and that staff. They've given the young man a chance to battle back and be a part of the team and get his life together, and indeed he's doing just that. Here is Taylor way upfield, and receiver turns around and he can't hold on. Isaiah Fluellen had it in his hands and he's fallen down, and the ball comes out.
Well, everybody's looking for a pass interference call. Not going to get it. One thing that Zach did right there that I think is great, when you've got a guy running a deep route and he's not going to be open, throw the ball short and to the outside. Throw the ball short and to the outside. You're either going to make the catch or you're going to knock it down and the defense won't get it. So it was smart not to throw it out of bounds, but give him a chance to win the jump ball.
Partisan Husker fans wanted a penalty. There was no pass interference. The ball came out as they're falling down backwards. 14. And here's Sam Cook. A wobbly kick, maybe his poorest kick of the year, hits it about midfield. And the Cyclones of Iowa State will have great field position as we are all knotted up here in the third quarter. We've got a good one here in Lincoln, Nebraska. We are in the heartland of America, the capital of the state of Nebraska, and a great one here in the Big 12. Conference opener for the 23rd ranked Cyclones of Iowa State, and Brett Meyer, just like he did a year ago, has led this football team back from adversity here in the second half. Meyer looking upfield, scampers free, will run up across the 50 and be shoved out of bounds at the 48-yard line. Hold on, we had a hit out of bounds, and Callahan, talking to the official, didn't like the call.
No, it was right down on the Nebraska bench. It's going to be a late hit.
Kevin Cosgrove, the defensive coordinator there. Let's hear from Drew George.
Dead ball, late hit, number 13 on the defense, 15 yards from the end of the run, automatic first down.
Now watch the quarterback. I think the key is that he clearly has made the decision to step out of bounds. It's always tough to know now, does the defender pull off or does he hit him? There's the decision to step out and he delivers the blow. It's a very close call, but I think when you see the quarterback trying to step out of bounds, they want you to pull off.
That was close.
Awful hard for a linebacker.
I mean, he was going out of bounds and he got hit right on. When he hit him, he was still in bounds as a player. Either way, it's a 1st and 10 for the Cyclones as they move down inside the Husker 35. Breyer hands it off to Coleman, cuts it back, has some running room, runs into the umpire, down to about the 25. Take a look back. 1977 was the year, and Iowa State came to Lincoln a 17-point underdog. Facing the 9th-ranked Huskers, Earl Bruce, the head coach of the Cyclones. Iowa State ran for 294 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half as they went on to win 24-21 and pull off the upset. By the way, that was the last conference opener Nebraska has lost at home at Memorial Stadium, 1977, and it was to the Cyclones of Iowa State. Second is short, another inside handoff. That'll get the first down for Iowa State, now running the football.
Well, we've had 2 key runs. That's what they've done to keep the pressure off Brett Meyer. They're going to move the sticks, passing the football. But if you can mix a few runs in there with Greg Coleman and keep the defense honest, and that's what they do. The defense is still going after Brett Meyer. He pops through for +8 and +2 and gets a first down for Iowa State, and they're knocking on the door again.
Black shirt defense. It's a matter of pride, but what a job Dan McCarney and his staff have done here in building a program in Ames. 35 wins the last 5 years, and that won't get it done. As knifing through, guess who? Corey McEwen.
Great job for Corey McEwen, back running around the block, finding the open gap, then getting back to tackle the ball carrier.
Yeah, as time permitting, stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report with John, Craig, and Aaron, featuring scores and highlights from across the country. We'll update you on a thriller they had in East Lansing, Michigan, with Michigan and Michigan State and other scores around the country. Meyer has a receiver, ball tipped and nearly picked off. Smacked down at the line of scrimmage. McEwen was right there. May have gotten a hand on it.
McEwen's running to the ball every snap. You'll see it right here. McEwen running for the open gap. Sees the quarterback. There you are. Jump up. Almost could have picked that ball out of his chest.
Brett Meyer says, how many number 13s do they have over there on that defense?
Where's that defensive backfield number? You'd think he's coming from the free safety position half the time.
Iowa State 5 of 13 on the day on third down conversions. 3rd and 10. Have got to get to just beyond the 11-yard line for the first down. Meyer has some running room. If he takes off, got to hurry, gets shoved out of bounds, and he'll be about 4.5 yards shy of the first.
Defensive coordinator Kevin Cosgrove talked about it. Brett Meyer, not just an accurate passer in the pocket, but very mobile. Gets out of the pocket right there. He still wants to throw, but he has the speed to get the ball down almost for a first down.
Now here, this is an adventure. It's been an adventure for Iowa State since the Missouri game a year ago. Brett Culbertson, who's already missed from 26 in the second quarter. He hit from 31 in the first quarter. This one will be a 32-yard attempt to take the lead. The kick is up, and it is good. 32 yards away. And Brett Meyer leads the Cyclones right back on the strength of Brett Culbertson's field goal. Well, a seesaw battle here in the Big 12. They were tied up at 3 apiece at halftime. Both teams scoring a touchdown in the third quarter. Now Iowa State, by virtue of a great defensive stand, puts 3 more on the board to go up 13-10, Coach. And as you heard Dan McCarney coming out at half, we knew this was going to be a 4-quarter football game. These two teams very, very closely matched.
That's right, and for the first time, the Nebraska offense was stopped after 3 downs. I think it was the first sack on Zach Taylor. He was sacked, backed up, a short punt to the 50-yard line, perfect field position for Iowa State. They come out with a big break there with 2 minutes left in the third quarter to get ahead.
And remember, it was 1977, long time ago, when the Cyclones won here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Tony Yelk's kick will bound a yard deep in the end zone, and Tierre Green will take it out and cuts it back, has some running room on the outside. Kicker will shove him out of bounds at the 45. A 47-yard return from 2 yards deep in the end zone for Tierre Green. It'll officially be listed as 45 because they're going to call the goal line out for the yardage.
The kicker must have kicked it to the wrong side because there is a huge hole to begin with. Tierre Green just finds the hole. He has great speed, used to be a running back. Used that tailback speed right there. Breaks it out to the 45-yard line to give Nebraska the critical field position they need right now.
Great field position after the field goal by Iowa State. And here come the Huskers right back. Flanker around by Terrence Nunn. We'll get a couple of yards.
You know, anytime I see a play like that, I have to start thinking, okay, flanker around pass, you know, something to set up something else. Anytime I see one of those come out, you know somewhere down the road they're going to fake it and they're going to throw it to somebody downfield.
You're talking about trickeration.
Trickeration.
And this kind of game, when it's so close, one trick play could do it all. 2nd and 6. Here's Taylor back to pass, has Ross up at the 45. That's right at the first down marker. I'm going to say it's enough for the first down, and they'll move the sticks.
I tell you, that's been a big play for them. Corey Ross up the middle on the inside cut routes over and over again. Of course, the middle screen went for the 70-yard touchdown run. And they keep those chains going now.
Numbers on Ross for the day. Great job catching the football included, and that's that 70-yard middle screen he had in the third quarter for the touchdown. 17th first down of the day. And yes, indeed, this Husker offense starting to click here in the 4th game of the year. Outside to Ross again, wide open upfield, and hangs on to the football.
It's all about Zach Taylor putting them in the right play. As you saw him, he checked the offense, defense out, made the check call, moved his fullback to the opposite side, came back to the open receiver. Best guy to have the ball in his hands, Corey Ross.
Ross' 6th reception of the afternoon for 129 yards and a touchdown. At 5 feet 6 inches tall, he is the biggest man on the field right now for the Huskers, getting it done. Lone setback is Ross. They will get him the football and nearly didn't get there. He had to wait on the football, and Adam Carper was there with him waiting on it.
I tell you, if I was the quarterback was almost sacked that time. You'd like to have thrown that one over everybody's head and got it out of bounds, because that one was a mess up waiting to happen. Play was covered. It was behind the line of scrimmage. Put him into a difficult 3rd and 7. Now you've got yourself into a much more difficult call. It was, first of all, it was 2nd and less than 1. And if you'd like to take a chance going deep downfield if you're not going to go ahead and get your first down.
Well, that'll be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Whoop. As no, Nebraska gets a timeout. It's 13-10 Iowa State. Back in a moment. Nine seconds to play here in the 3rd quarter. Iowa State back on top. It's been a game of momentum shifts. In the 1st quarter, a Nebraska opening drive for 68 yards, 3 points and a field goal. The Cyclones come back. Likewise, kick a field goal of 31 yards in the 1st quarter. 2 missed field goals in the 2nd quarter. We're all knotted up 3 apiece at halftime. 3rd quarter, Nebraska comes out with a 70-yard middle screen by Corey Ross to take the lead. Cyclones come roaring right back with a 2-yard toss in the end zone. And now, of course, the Cyclones have kicked the field goal to go up 13-10 with just 9 ticks on the clock here in the 3rd quarter.
Nebraska trying to respond with a 3rd and 7. Started on the 45-yard line, good field position because of the kickoff return by Tier Green.
Taking a look at Iowa State defensive coordinator John Skladany, trying to get his troops to bow up and stop what has been a record-setting day for Zach Taylor. 26 of 40 for 305 yards, an all-time passing record for him. And that one will bounce off the turf.
That's one he wishes he had back. He had a hook route for the first down, threw it a little bit short, bounced it to him, and Zach Taylor, 305 yards passing. Could have used about 15 more right there.
3rd time in history. Now we're talking about a program that began playing college football in 1890. It's their 116th year, only the 3rd time in history they have had a 300-plus yard passing game.
Yeah, I don't think they threw the forward pass here to about
Not very much.
the late 80s.
I think it was called the option attack.
Yes.
Sam Cook lays into one, and Iowa State will get it back. Well, the Cyclones up 13-10 at the end of 3 quarters. ABC Sports presentation of college football will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television.
You're watching KETV and KETV-DT, Omaha.
You're watching college football on ABC Sports, home of the Bowl Championship Series.
Back in Lincoln, Nebraska, getting set for the 4th and final quarter here is this Big 12 showdown between Iowa State and Nebraska. Take a look at the offensive production here for 2 teams that struggled in their last outing to put much in the way of yards or points on the board. Nebraska, by the way, 107th in the nation in total offense coming in, averaging only 271 yards and less than 4 yards a carry. Getting it done today, but this guy's team, Dan McCarney, also getting some offense moving here in the 2nd half. Here's Meyer back to throw once again. Completion up again to his favorite receiver, Austin Flynn. As we check in down with Trinity.
Hey guys, thanks very much. Well, I'm going to take you back in time 28 years to 1977, the last time Iowa State won here in Lincoln. Let's take a look. That's when Star Wars, the first one in that trilogy, first hit theaters. Disco was in high gear thanks to John Travolta and Saturday Night Fever. And on a down note, the King, Elvis Presley, passed away that year. And in football, Dan Devine, Notre Dame, they won the title back in 1977, guys.
And I bet you back then, Coach, you were probably the king of the disco floor.
I bumped to Joe Tex a few times, I'm going to tell you right now. Jay Moore's bumping a little bit, too. He just discoed the running back right there. Broke right through.
Oh.
Boom. Yeah, ain't going to bump no more with no big running back.
Came right by Scott Fisher, the left tackle, the junior college transfer, just ran right by him for the 4-yard loss. 13-10, inside handoff to Coleman, and he gets a couple of yards as we head back to New York and check in once again with John Saunders.
For the BCS Spotlight game presented by ADT Update, USC opening drive of the second half. Lendale White goes 32 yards for the touchdown. Got a penalty for celebration for diving in, but they still get the extra point. It's now down to a 21-10 lead with about 10 minutes to go in the third. Hey, Terry, how about Disco Inferno?
Well, a week ago, the Trojans able to come back from an early deficit at Oregon. Not so lucky today with Arizona State. Played them tough there in Tempe. Pass complete upfield. That is Todd Blythe for another Cyclone first down.
Well, Tierra Green's given a lot of cushion to Austin Flynn. They're working the short side to their big physical receiver, Austin Flynn. He's getting one-on-one coverage. Tierra's worried about the deep ball. He's given up a little bit of cushion. And I think they've hit Austin Flynn at least 3 times on the deep hook, deep comeback to the boundary side.
Numbers for Meyer. You look at see Coleman, and remember now he began the year as a third-string tailback.
Right.
Cyclones want to use up some clock and get some points on the board. Pressure on Meyer, throws it away wisely, or else he was going to lose some yards. A moment ago, we're talking about Southern California and the kind of football they played there. It looks like Iowa State in pretty good company here. Take a look at the records for these teams in the last 9 games. Iowa State 8-1, ranked 23, and of course 23rd in the country. And Southern Cal at this point 9-0, but they are losing in Tempe to a fired-up Arizona State team with Dirk Cutter and company.
Yeah, Matt Leinart made the statement that he enjoyed being behind against Oregon. I don't think he's enjoying it right now.
He's not having too much fun right now out in Tempe. Meyer rolls out to get some time, has a receiver, and makes the catch, hangs on. Austin Flynn got hit, hammered pretty hard by Blake Tiedtke, the free safety, but still held onto the football. And it's going to be about a yard shy of the first down, as Flynn now sort of hobbles on, limps off to the sideline.
A little bobbled up as he came across the middle, done a great job. Quarterback beat out by Brent Meyer, found a home at wide receiver.
3rd and a yard in Husker territory. He will throw for it. Pressure coming, he gets it off, upfield, out of the hands of Darkema, the tight end.
Almost intercepted Blake Tiedtke. Almost intercepted the ball.
Back deep for the Huskers is number 83, Terrence One.
Nice job by Meyer to get that ball off, throwing back across his body.
He's taking some shots too now, I'm telling you. He's a heck of a young man.
Here's Blankenship for the punt. And a low, wobbly kick, kicking it out of bounds, kicking it away from none. And the Huskers will get the football back at their own 25-yard line, trailing by 3 here in the 4th quarter.
Go Red! Go Huskers!
And we are back in Lincoln, and also back the winner of 6 Emmys, an all-new Desperate Housewives. Has a new neighbor and a juicy new mystery. The biggest surprise is about to get out. Desperate Housewives coming your way tomorrow night, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, only on ABC. What a great show. I love that show.
I have to put the kids to bed first and watch it in my house.
I'm not going to miss Desperate Housewives at all. A little bit of Desperate Huskers here trying to get some yards and points, and that'll get it done. Nate Swift makes the reception for a gain of 14 up across the 35.
Yeah, they did a great job of hitting these moving routes. You know, you hit a 5-yard hook route, you don't make it 5 yards. But you hit a moving route, your receiver has a chance to turn upfield and makes big yardage. That's been a big difference than what we saw the first 3 weeks. The timing of Nebraska's team on offense, the ability to hit these moving routes with such good accuracy.
All the numbers a moment ago on Zach Taylor, a record afternoon in passing, record setting for the Huskers as well. And this guy here has had a lot to do with it, catching the ball. That time he takes the handoff. And Corey Ross will scamper up near midfield and will spot the ball just shy of the 49. We talked to Bill Callahan about what this West Coast offense is all about. People were talking about it. You come in here and you scrap essentially 100 years of power option football. But if you understand this offense, when it starts to click, Coach, you can really put some yards up in a hurry.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And it's control. The key is just to break some bigger plays.
Taylor. And we talked to Bill Callahan yesterday. He said that so many people talk about this West Coast offense. In a nutshell, what really is it?
Writers and the media make way too much out of it. It's been successful at every level of football. And I would tell you that what we're doing from a structural standpoint, what we're doing from a tactical standpoint, and what we're doing structurally across the board on offense is exactly similar to what's occurring at USC right now.
Indeed, it's the same offense that carried his Oakland Raiders to the Super Bowl and an AFC title back in 2002. Ross breaks a tackle but gets smothered under. Great pursuit by Nick Moser, the strong safety. Coach, your thoughts on the West Coast attack?
Well, again, the West Coast attack, it's been around forever. Like I said, I remember the first time I ever put it in was mid-'80s. You know, split. It originally split back, quarterback under the center, backs run the ball and run 5 receivers into a routes, and just short control passing to go with your running game. And now it's morphed into almost, it's good offensive football. And I think in Nebraska it's a little bit foreign, but it's pretty common all over the country.
I'm told there are different versions, and what we're seeing here is an NFL version of the West Coast attack. Here is Taylor downfield, and great catch. That is Nate Swift, the redshirt freshman out of Hutchinson, Kansas. 31-yard gain, turns around, squares his body, and makes a super catch.
That's the big play. This offense, the one thing about the West Coast offense that comes out of the NFL like you talked about, there's the deep ball right there. You'll see it. Nate Swift, this is the young kid. Nobody expected him to make the big plays today. I mean, you got Nunn, you got Hardy, you got some upperclassmen. Swift comes through with a huge play. That's what you need in this West Coast offense, a few big plays.
Swift, an athletic basketball player in high school, chose the Huskers over Minnesota. Here is Taylor wide open at the 11-yard line inside the 5, and that is Mark LaFleur, the senior. As we check in back in New York quickly with John Saunders.
For the Pontiac game-changing performance update, it might wind up being Reggie Bush going 24 yards for a touchdown here to get USC within 4 of Arizona State. Nominate your Pontiac game-changing performance at ESPN.com. Keyword Pontiac.
And here come the Trojans roaring back. And here in Lincoln, Nebraska, it's all about the Huskers trying to get it done.
This is where you got to maintain.
First and goal inside the 5. They give it to guess who? The little guy, but he's not got a lot of momentum, and he'll be stuffed for no gain.
This is where you, inside the 5, where you wish you could retain a lot of the old Nebraska offensive mentality. When you got to go down there, the defensive backs are condensed down towards the line of scrimmage. You got to have the power. 2nd and 3 right here. I called it to get for Iowa State. You didn't make good yardage on first down. Your naked bootleg, it's a great opportunity. If you get to 3rd down, it's not a good play. But right here, 2nd down, still a run situation.
Yeah, that was Sean Moorhead a moment ago limping off, holding his wrist. The 2-year starter defensive end from Mason City, Iowa. 2nd and goal for the Huskers. Fake to the fullback and overthrows as Taylor is hammered by Jason Berryman. Gets the ball off, but barely.
Yeah, that's the play action, like the naked boot. I would like to see movement, give your quarterback a couple of options, but there's one of those where the defense did a good job of staying home. Watch the backside tight end.
Great ball fake. Here comes Berryman in top of your screen. And Taylor, to his defense, had to get the football off right then.
Yeah, Mosier made a good play of covering him, not leaving him wide open. He could have laid it in there. Now you've got a
3rd and goal.
Much more of a passing situation in my mind.
From 3 yards out, 2 tight ends. Motion by the tailback. A fake it to Ross, and here comes Zach. He's going to try to get in, and he doesn't get there. 4th down and about a half a yard. Now what do you do?
Now what do you do? You're on the right hash, a tough angle. You've already shown you're unsure about your kicker. You got to have 3. You want 7.
This will not be a popular decision by Bill Callahan, but it is the wise move if you're a coach and there's plenty of time left to play.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure. That's a full yard now. That's not a half a yard. It's a full yard. I agree with the call also. I think you've got to tie it up right now.
Now here's the freshman Jordan Congdon, who missed from 22 yards in the second quarter. This one will be 18 yards away. Freshman from San Diego, California to tie it up, and the flags will fly.
Well, you're going to want a better angle. That's intentional right there, folks. You really don't want to kick the angle from the 1 yard line. You move it back 5 yards, it's actually an easier kick. An easier angle for the kicker. It's very much like an extra point. Either way, you just want to back him up and give him a little better window.
Now the decision.
Delay of game on the offense, 5 yards from the previous spot, still 4th down.
As a head coach all those years, the decision Callahan made to kick the field goal, I mean, those aren't difficult at all. You got to go with the points.
You don't listen to people behind you now. If you're ever listening to people behind you, don't ever listen to your players on the bench. Don't ever listen to people behind you. Go professionally, you know what you need to do.
But then they remind you your kicker's a freshman. 23 yards out, the kick is up. And you say, yeah, I made the right decision.
Yeah.
So Callahan takes the points, and we are all tied up. 13 apiece with 7:20 to play in a sold-out Memorial Stadium. Back in just a moment. ABC Sports presentation of college football is being brought to you by Cadillac and the STS with available performance-tuned all-wheel drive breakthrough. By Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, one taste and you get it. By Singular, raising the bar. And by Capital One, what's in your wallet? Well, nobody on the streets here right now. They're all here at Memorial Stadium. Lincoln, Nebraska is a city populated by 236,000 people, and right now not a soul to be found in downtown. They're all here, as many as can be here.
Yeah, couldn't get a
inside
ticket.
Watching the football
I was going to say, if you couldn't get a ticket, and about 130,000 of them couldn't, they're in some facility watching this game.
All right, we'll see if DeAndre Jackson or possibly Austin Flynn. Jackson is the speedster, returned 2 long kickoffs against Army last Friday night. He will get it. Cuts it back, has some running room. Oh, flag comes in, may have a hold or block in the back.
Whatever it was, everybody saw it. There were 4 flags came from 4 different corners of the field, so whatever it was. Oh, there's 2 more thrown down there.
You got a flag, throw it, folks. And they'll talk it over, and we'll hear from Drew George, our Big 12 referee, in a moment to see exactly how many of these penalties are going to go against Iowa State. Might have got a block in the back on the return.
A lot of discussion going on.
Might need an adding machine for this one with everybody throwing a flag.
Well, they kept rethrowing it so their flags would all get in one big pile.
Do you add yards for a double throw?
I don't
pick
know.
it up and throw it again?
I don't know what's going to happen, but it's obviously something they want to confer on to make sure they get it right. When it's 13-13, and this is a critical opening conference game for both of these teams, we're talking about field position here. This could be critical field position.
Holding White, number 29 and number 41. Number 29 will be penalized 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
We are in Lincoln, Nebraska, where it is the 272nd consecutive sellout of Memorial Stadium. to watch the 23rd-ranked Cyclones of Iowa State come calling on the Cornhuskers of Nebraska. It has been a seesaw afternoon. Tied up 3-3 at halftime. And we are tied here with just over 7 minutes to play in the football game. A sellout crowd, 77,433, an NCAA college football record for consecutive sellouts. Inside handoff and bowling his way ahead for about 3.5 yards is Greg Coleman.
Yeah, Greg's been pretty effective. You know, they've lost Stevie Hicks, their star running back, who had over 1,000 yards last year, banged up pretty much. They're getting about what they need to, 3, 4, 5 yards. Anytime you can run the ball, at least it gets the pressure off your quarterback. He doesn't get hit every time. Greg Coleman's been able to do that.
2nd and 6 for the Cyclones. Here's Meyer, nice block by the back to give him some time. Breaking a tackle, 30, across the 30-yard line, John Davis. And that'll be more than enough for the first down after a gain of 13.
Yeah, Tier Green missed the tackle, allowed him to get the first down.
And a great block there on Green coming in with pressure. Or I should say on the defensive end coming in with pressure.
Wrap up, you got to wrap up and make that tackle.
First down, clock ticking away. Neither one of these teams have exceptional field goal kickers. Meyer has some running room. Upfield, 40, 41. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. A couple of second-half touchdowns. First for the Huskers of Nebraska. How about the middle screen?
Right here, you see the lineman get out, make contact. Then the 5'6" Mini-Mite takes off, cuts about 3 times, gets to the end zone.
And then from 2 yards out, the toss to Walter Nickel, the junior from Tacoma. And we are all knotted up at 13 as the clock ticks down. Another against a big hole left side. Great job of blocking by that left front by Corey Pence and Johan Egbers and company to open up some running room there for Greg Coleman.
I'll tell you, a nice hold open up. Watch this hold for Greg Coleman right here. 2nd and 2. It's a good waist down, but boy, the great blocking inside. This is a great battle. The offensive line of Iowa State and the defensive front of Nebraska. These are a veteran bunch of Iowa State players. They wanted to run that ball. When they lost Stevie Hicks, they knew they could not run it as well. But you've got to say Greg Coleman has had an excellent second half of making the running game a part of the offense.
1st and 10 as the drive continues. Whoa, pressure and nothing doing. Guess who? Corey McEwen once again. As we head back to New York and check in with John Saunders.
For the singular All-America Player of the Week updates, it could be Vince Young with another terrific day. 15 of 22, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns, carried the ball 13 times for 108 yards and a touchdown, 51-20 win. Text vote to 87654 now on your singular phone for your ballot and a chance to win a trip to the national championship.
Boy, Vince Young, is he fun to watch or what? Here's another guy that can get it done. Meyer runs to the outside, and he will take a sizable loss by running out of bounds back at his own 40-yard line.
Now, you talk about a player that does not make a mistake twice. Watch McEwen right in the middle of the field, middle linebacker, number 13. Now, remember, he got the late hit on the quarterback last series. Check him out. He's eyeing up the quarterback. Here he is right here. He's eyeing up the quarterback. Quarterback runs the side. Nope. That's called learning from your mistakes. Now they've got to show they can shut him down now on this critical drive.
And listen to this crowd of over 77,000 partisan Husker fans, the vast majority. Although quite a few Iowa State Cyclone fans have made the trip over from Ames. And there's a sideline warning being offered to Bill Callahan and his Huskers to move back.
Just a warning now. If you're an official and you want to get out of here alive, you don't want to throw that flag. Just warn them a little bit there. Get back behind the 3-yard white strip.
3rd and long. Third and Omaha for Iowa State. Shotgun by Meyer. Has a receiver downfield, but he doesn't have time to throw it. He will go down. Sixth sack of the afternoon. 26 sacks thus far in 4 football games for this black shirt defense of Nebraska.
Barry Cryer, number 94. They rotate about 8 off the defensive line, and they have everybody fresh. They're just as fresh on that defensive front now as they were in the opening series because nobody's going to play too many reps. Barry Cryer backing up Adams. Makes the sack.
Well, even Little Red was pumped on that move, huh?
He was bobbing and weaving, wasn't he?
And here's the punt.
Going to get a return on this one.
Blankenship down to Terrence Nunn. Inside, Nunn's got an opening. But one guy stumbles and a saving tackle at the 41-yard line.
Boy,
the Huskers take over with less than 4 minutes to play. Capacity crowd on their feet here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Less than 4 minutes to play, and Huskers have the football on their own 44. The toss to Ross. Cuts it back. Cuts it back again. Has some running room backside. And backside pursuit. Makes a stop near the first down after a gain of 9. We'll check in on the sidelines with Trinity.
Well, you guys, they say a lot of times that the score doesn't represent what's really going on. The Iowa State bench, you would think after what they've been going through, they'd be fired up, they'd be talking to one another, encouraging one another. Instead, it's silent. Not even the head coach, Dan McCarney, saying much at all. They look a little shell-shocked, more like the score is a blowout than a tie.
First down.
An unsportsmanlike conduct, illegal procedure. Check that, illegal procedure, as they will back up the Huskers.
Critical play right there because the run had a great pickup to get them across the 50. And again, Corey Ross, if you're going to play defense against Corey Ross, you've got to play him inside out. He's never going to stretch. He is going to cut back at some point, and if you're pursuing him, you've got to pursue inside out and take away the cutback.
First and long. And nice catch to hang on to the football by Nate Swift, but he is hammered at the 45, so they will get back about 7 of those yards they had lost. Bring up a 2nd and 8.
I'll tell you the nice thing about getting a quarterback like Zach Taylor to come into his own. Critical situation like that, you're not as worried about an interception. You'd like to see him make completion. Most importantly, don't turn the ball over here.
Yeah, he has 3 interceptions on the year, but he's thrown the ball awfully well here today for the Huskers. Gets some pressure, steps up, and takes off. Lots of running room, 40, 35, and will stroll out of bounds at the 34-yard line. A gain of 21 by Zach Taylor.
I tell you, he's a gamer. He's my kind of quarterback. He's the son of a football coach. His dad, I want to say his dad was a defensive back for Oklahoma.
Yeah, he was for the Sooners in the late 70s, Sherwood.
And when you're the son of a coach, and I don't say it because I am, because I've coached a lot of them too, you're just raised around the game. You're competitive. You know what it means to be a leader. You know what it means to be a quarterback. Always loved a quarterback that daddy was coaching football somewhere.
Comes from a competitive family. His sister, Catherine, competes in the Special Olympics in swimming in Norman, Oklahoma. You mentioned his dad played for Barry Switzer and the Sooners. Here's the toss to Ross. And Berryman will corral him at the 30-yard line.
It's funny, they've saved a couple of running plays. You've seen the toss sweep twice. They hadn't run that in the first 3 quarters. It's a little different play. They crack from outside in, get some stretch on the play, and get positive running yards outside, where most of these runs have been inside cutbacks for Corey Ross.
Second and 6, line of scrimmage is the 30. Motion by Ross, empty backfield. Nice pass and breaks the tackle at the 15-yard line. It is Isaiah Fluellen, the junior from Ramstein, Germany.
I tell you, Iowa State just needs to make sure they don't give up a defense here. They've done a great job. As good as this Nebraska offense looked, Iowa State's secondary has not given up the deep balls. Mosier and Paris at safety, Jackson, Hicks, they've kept everything underneath. Now this drive right here, they've got to now keep them to a field goal because remember, both teams have had a little difficulty on field goals.
Got a shot a moment ago at Jordan Congdon warming up on the sidelines. Here's Taylor, back has some room in the middle, will take off. Here comes some pressure, throws it toward the end zone. And if he can get the ball up about a foot. Now, time permitting, stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report with John, Craig, and Aaron, featuring scores and highlights from all across the country. Got some big ones going on. What's happening with top-ranked Southern Cal and Tempe? How about the unbeaten Florida Gators of Urban Meyer in Tuscaloosa? Possibly a big win for Mike Shula and company. All that and more coming up, time permitting, on the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report. Well, they may put this one in the hands of their freshman kicker. There's a look at his numbers. He's missed from 22. He's been good from 30 and 32.
You just got to be careful here again.
And they'll call timeout and talk it over. We'll take a break and come back to Lincoln in just a moment. Well, college football in a sold-out arena in the heartland of America here in Big 12 country just doesn't get much better than that. 13-13, Iowa State and Nebraska. Clock now, a minute 46 to play.
Take a shot at it here. No interceptions, no sack. But if you got a smart quarterback, runs a trap up the middle.
Trying to set up some positioning if they need to kick the field goal. And a reminder, once again, their kicker is a true freshman, Jordan Congdon, who missed both of his field goals on this field 2 weeks ago against Pittsburgh. He is 2 out of 3 here today.
Well, you're going to run this ball to the middle of the field. If you're going to run up the middle on second down, then you need to put this one in the middle of the field for that kicker. So you want him looking about as close to an extra point looking deal as you can. And to get this ball off this right hash here, put it right in the middle of the field.
See, Iowa State still has 2 timeouts. Congdon, by the way, missed his very first extra point of his career as a Husker kicker. But so did former Husker kicker Chris Brown, who's now kicking in the NFL.
Yeah, I was going to say, we can go back on a few people. That first one's usually the toughest of all years to kick. But, hey, there's no more pressure than this right here. If this comes down to Congdon, he's going to have to kick one to win the opening conference game. But the game's not over yet either. We got the balls going to be back, so.
Not over at all. Dan McCarney trying to tempt fate here. He has not won here in 5 trips as the head coach of the Cyclones. 100th meeting between Iowa State and Nebraska all began back in 1896. And the Huskers have won 81 times, although Iowa State has won 2 of the last 3.
Yeah, this is a lot different than Dan McCarney's last 5 trips to Lincoln. I want to say 28-0 a loss. At one of them 77-14, 176-14. Those were the national championship years for the Huskers in the 90s. These are 2 very well and evenly matched teams right here. Whoever wins this ball game, these are 2 well-matched football teams.
3rd and 6, can't turn it over, need to play it safe, but would love to have the points. 3rd down, got to do it now. Motion. Here is Taylor, fakes it to Ross, broken play, and Taylor drops the football. And it'll be Iowa State's football on the 24-yard line. What you didn't need to happen, happened. A turnover by Nebraska.
If you're a football coach right now, this is why you get gray hair. This is why you understand you're never out of it. If you're Dan Carney right there, McCarney, you're never out. Surely they're going to get a replay on this, an instant replay up in the box. We don't know that. Missed assignment by Corey Ross. It's out.
Yeah, it was a fumble. That was a good call. Good call by Drew George and his staff here, Big 12 officials. Zach Taylor, misdirection. Which way? He was going to go one way, and Ross went another.
Ross went the wrong way, and again, it's easy to second guess yourself. The quarterback should always go back directly to where the hole was blocked. Anytime the play is messed up, and it looked like a misdirection, a missed assignment by Corey Ross.
And you know, here's a lesson for young football players watching. DeAndre Jackson tried to pick the football up, and if he doesn't get possession and the ball rolls out of bounds, it's still Nebraska's ball.
Exactly right.
And they kick a field goal or attempt a field goal. So you need to fall on the football. As now it is under review. Remember, the Big Ten a year ago was the first to initiate review. In order to overturn this, it has to be indisputable evidence. Let's see if we can see once again. Indisputable video evidence. There's the ball. Here's DeAndre Jackson. Taylor trying to cover it up. No, the ball is out before his knee is down.
Like I said, here's the first mistake. Go back and chase the hole. Quarterback turn and run right where the hole was going to be. Although he was stuck out there, and he's just making a decision at the last moment.
The play on the field was ruled complete, correct. First down, Iowa State.
Great job by Drew George and his officials. A tough break for that man right there, Bill Callahan and his Huskers, who just looked like they were just going to bide some time and kick the field goal.
Oh, he was following the rule. He was following the book. Ran it up the middle, was going to run to the middle of the field, set the field goal kick up. That's why you never control this game. It's just mistakes happen.
1st and 10, and now Iowa State needs to be able to move the football. Here's Meyer moving out, rolling out. Has the completion up to about the 26 or 27, gain of 4.
Now Iowa State has to make some decisions now with 1:25 left and 80 yards to go for a score and a little bit less for a field goal, and they've been uncertain with their field goal kicker. How many chances did they take?
Well, a year ago, Iowa State came from 4 touchdowns back at Kansas State. They hadn't won in Manhattan since '88. And it was a tremendous second-half comeback for the Cyclones. It looks like they're going to march off some yards here. Might have had a defensive end jump across for the Huskers.
Contact was made. They blew the whistle.
Wally Mohammed stepped across from his left end position, 55. Nebraska's 7th penalty of the afternoon for 66 yards. And suddenly it has gotten very quiet here in Lincoln. Second on the yard. Final minute and 25 seconds of regulation in this Big 12 opener for Iowa State and Nebraska. Here comes the pressure. Meyer has a receiver. Upfield, and great catch. Did he get down? No, he was out of bounds.
Todd Blythe, huge catch right there. You'll see right here the quarterback, Brett Meyer, lays it up perfectly. Todd Blythe banged up, a little bit shaken up on the play, but you'll see he's 6'5", so if you got him covered, you don't have him covered. Brett Meyer gives him a very catchable ball right down the sideline, in between the corner and the safety.
Blythe, who had to come back from ACL surgery in the spring, was their leading receiver, record-setting receiver a year ago. 3rd and a yard. Make it a half a yard. They are 6 of 17 on 3rd down conversions. 2 tight ends. They'll give it off. And we had movement. Flag comes in from the back judge. This could be a very costly penalty for Iowa State if indeed.
Prior to the snap, false start. Left guard on the offense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still 3rd down.
They had the first down, and you wonder why coaches get gray.
Oh, I'm telling you, I mean, it just drives you nuts. There's anything that can go wrong does go wrong, it seems like, in games like this. And yet now it's who's going to have enough poise. You've got Brett Meyer. He's a sharp guy. He's got to take a shot at this first down. You don't want to give it back to Nebraska with 1:18 left.
If you're Kevin Costgrove, the defensive coordinator for the Huskers, do you bring pressure or do you play contain?
I bring pressure. That's when you've gotten to him. You bring number 13 or you bring number 44 or 49. There comes the linebackers.
Meyer's got to move, has a receiver upfield, and he will be shy of the first down, and the clock will continue to tick. Very, very close, but when he jumped for the football, he came back inside the sticks by about a yard.
Yeah, the clock will continue to run. Although he went out of bounds, I was not sure that he did not stay in bounds, but they will have to punt the ball away right now as the clock ticks down.
He comes down in bounds, and he sees about a yard shy of the first down mark. That motion penalty a moment ago, very costly to Iowa State because they had the first down.
Yeah, they'll just take a delay of game right here. That's all they're going to do is sit down here. It looks like take a delay of game or call a timeout with 1 second left. Think about it. So instead of taking the delay, they're going to think about it. On 4th and 1, they call their timeout. I need to be in that huddle and tell Don what to do. Let's punt that ball down there. Let's don't give them a field goal here. They got a pretty salty defense, you know.
Well, McCartney and company, they certainly have had their hands full today, but what a job they have done to put 13 points up on this man's #1 ranked black shirt defense. Meyer gets hammered initially. Guess who? Jay Moore from the outside. Then the freshman takes a turn. Continue to get it done, and in spite of the beating that Brett Meyer has taken, they have bounced back. Kevin Cosgrove's company, 20 sacks in the first 3 games, 26 today. They have now surpassed the total of the entire 2004 season in just 4 football games.
31 seconds left. We had a big punt return last time. On the last punt, remember, we had a big punt return for Nebraska.
Blankenship's got to get it off. They got the return on, low line drive. This one will be returnable. There is none. Back at his 22. Starts right, comes back, and a 47-yard punt, an 8-yard return, and the Huskers will take over on their own 30 with just 20 ticks on the clock. Well, Coach, when we talked to both the head coaches this week, they said this is about as evenly matched football teams as we've seen in a long time. 2 teams expected to battle for the Big 12 North title in the conference opener. Iowa State coming in for the first time in the history of this matchup in 100 years, ranked. Nebraska unranked. But these teams have just slugged it out time and again here, quarter after quarter.
And both teams kind of met their objectives. Dan McCartney getting to the 4th quarter. Callahan gets some consistency on offense. Good call here. It's too far. If you throw the ball downfield to the 50 or the 40 and they intercept it, they've got a chance to get the field goal. So I don't mind that. Let's get the game now.
Well, the clock will tick away, and we will head to overtime here in Lincoln, Nebraska, the opener for the Big 12 for the Huskers and the Cyclones. ABC Sports presentation of college football will return after this word from our ABC station. Back in Lincoln, Nebraska here, we are in overtime. We were knotted up at 3 apiece at halftime and 13-13 at the end of regulation. Big 12 conference opener for Iowa State coming in ranked 23rd. And the Huskers of Nebraska both 3-0.
All right, gentlemen, we got overtime. Here's what we're going to do. Who's going to do the talking?
You'd like to have a second shot. You'd like the other team to get the first shot always in overtime. I haven't seen too many teams want the ball first.
All right.
You'd like to have the other team get it first.
So referee Drew George explaining that they will make the call.
It is big. Nebraska, you have won.
Nebraska looks to have won the toss. They will elect their option.
They want defense, which you're going to get offense, which end of the field you want to play at, gentlemen.
They ask you which goal you want to defend. Doesn't make a lot of difference here. You're surrounded by a sea of red.
Yes, I don't know what the wind may be a little factor going.
Here's the good part. Your colors are red and white as well, so this could be some Cyclone fans in there.
The only thing you see is a lot of black. The student section especially.
On the toss and elected to go on defense.
Nebraska's won the toss. And we'll go on defense first. When we come back, we'll begin period number 1 of overtime. Stay with us. And getting set for overtime, here are the rules. Each team gets a possession beginning at the 25-yard line. No sudden death. Must go for 2 in the 3rd overtime if we get there. And here's a reverse to Flynn. Throwing toward the end zone, and here come the flags in from the secondary. R.J. Sumrall was the intended receiver. The coverage by Courtney Grigsby, the sophomore cornerback out of Omaha.
Boy, I saw all kinds of things there. Of course, it's trickeration to start with. But look, first of all, as you see the fake, there's the reverse. The receiver's covered. You should throw it away. He's covered. It's the first play. They've got guys on him. Now the second mistake is don't pass interfere. And so Iowa State kind of lucky there as they threw the ball.
Pass interference, defense, number 2, 15 yards from the previous spot, first down.
Iowa State gets a break there.
They got to break. That one, of course, was Austin Flynn, who the former quarterback,
right,
who was throwing the football. So they're going for all the marbles in the opening play of overtime. These two teams in 99 previous meetings have never played an overtime game. Handoff to Coleman, big hole inside, touchdown, Iowa State.
Great call. Running play out of the shotgun, pure passing situation.
Touchdown, Iowa State.
Run the draw on first down.
A great call by offensive coordinator Barney Cotton, who played at Nebraska.
It's just that they weren't expecting it. You don't get in that formation and run the football. Greg Coleman, we said it wasn't going to be as big a factor, but he sure has done everything.
And these kicks are not automatic. They haven't been for either one of these teams this year. Here's Culbertson's extra point. It is up just inside the right upright. Greg Coleman's fired up.
Watch the holes that open up. The defense is rushing the passer. They want to rush the passer, and then the angles are there for the lineman. They just take the defensive lineman either way they want to go, and then open up the draw for Greg Coleman. Look kind of easy for Iowa State.
There's a look at Dan McCarney. We mentioned that his offensive coordinator, Barney Cotton, was actually a starting defensive lineman for the Huskers the last time Iowa State won here back in 1977. He's a former coordinator for the Huskers here 2 years ago under Frank Solich.
Yeah, he has a lot of heart and a lot of memory here with Nebraska, his alma mater. But as coaching changes happen and you end up on another staff, he's so thankful and excited about being at Iowa State.
There's Barney, and he said, you know, it's not about me, guys. It's about the players. It's about the players for Iowa State and the players for Nebraska. I had a great time, and I love my school. I played there, but right now I'm going to get the Cyclones as many wins as we can get here. Taylor under center, gets pressured, going with a screen, almost gets it picked off. If he holds on, this one's over.
My
dangerous
goodness.
pass.
Dangerous pass, but he didn't see the lineman. The great play by Nick Leaders to read the screen, because if he gets the ball to Corey Ross, it's a touchdown. Everybody out in front of him, they've got a perfect screen. But Nick Leaders reads and feels the release of the lineman, follows the lineman into the play. Great play, Nick Leaders from Nebraska, one of the 6 players, scholarship players on Iowa State from Nebraska.
Leaders, the 4-year starter, anchor in the middle from Omaha. Second down play, going toward the end zone and pushing and shoving. Gonna get a call on a hold down there on the defensive back, DeAndre Jackson.
Whole lot of shoving going on, I'm gonna tell you, but it was both ways again. You've got to feel like this is going to go Nebraska's way.
Pass interference on the defense, number 4, 15 yards from the previous spot, first down and goal.
That's not ballroom dancing, guys. That's shoving and pushing and moving back and forth. That's interference.
Well, you know, the thing about college football, defensive backs are taught if it's a chance to be caught, you've got to take the penalty because it's only 15 yards. It's not a spot foul. In the NFL, that would be all the way down to the 2 or 3. So 15 yards is better than 7 or better than a 22-yard gain.
First down at the 10-yard line. First and goal. That man has set a record today throwing the football. Motion by Ross, and here comes Taylor and come looking for Ross. And they're complete, and the ball comes out as Terrence Nunn gets down inside the 2. What's happening with the number 1 team in the country? Let's check in with John Saunders.
Number 1 team in the country has scored 3 unanswered touchdowns in the second half. This is the 3rd Matt Leinart on the quarterback keeper from a yard out. And for the first time in the game, USC has a lead, 24-21.
Saw the numbers of Reggie Bush there a moment ago as the Trojans are on the march, and now the Huskers trying to punch it in.
Well, I'm going to say a yard and a half to go. You've got to have enough old Nebraska stuff to pound this thing in.
And give it to Ross. He doesn't get there.
Oh, I tell you,
Well, that is very, very close, and they will spot him at about the half-yard line.
Yeah, that's the one thing at 5'6" you can't do is run over a defensive line, but he's right to the half-yard line. Good positive gain.
Watch the defensive effort here by the Cyclone linebackers. There's Berryman, tries to get there. Great effort by the Cyclone secondary and linebackers to step up and make that stop.
I think that's quarterback sneak right here. I want to get that quarterback sneak in that daggum thing.
Give it to Ross,
and
he touchdown Huskers.
Well, you got to have a touchdown. Number 4 is your man, I guess, and they're going to stay with him. Nice off-tackle lead play. Got that fullback in the backfield. One more blocker, and that's what they needed to take that linebacker on. How big is this?
And remember, he missed the opening extra point of his career as a Husker, but he's been perfect since. And indeed, he continues to be perfect, and we are knotted up 20 apiece. When we come back, overtime number 2 from a sold-out Memorial Stadium. It just doesn't get any better than this. In the heartland of America, in Big 12 country, in a sold-out arena on a Saturday afternoon, temperatures in the mid-70s, college football fans cheering on their favorite team. The Husker fans are here, the Cyclone fans are here, and we are in double overtime, second overtime, tied up 20 apiece.
I'll tell you, this is where you find out where your heart is and your soul is, because all that hard work you've done, all the conditioning that you've done, it's come down to your conference. You're playing in your division. You're playing for a chance to be number 1 in your division right now. And there's a lot of heart out there. I think both these shows, I mean, Iowa State down to Army, they showed the heart they had to have to come back in a game they weren't emotionally ready to play.
How about Nebraska? Had to block a field goal as time expired to hold on and preserve the victory over Pittsburgh on this field 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, anytime you don't quite have the offense cranked up, I mean, at the level you wanted early, when you see the signs of a team with heart and character, that's so important.
We talked to Corey Ross yesterday and asked him, when you dream about your great moments here at Nebraska and your 5th-year senior, what do you dream about? He says, I dream about it being overtime. And we got the ball at 25 and you give it to me and I score and we win the ball game. That's the way I want to go out in my 5th year as a senior.
I said, no coach wants overtime.
Well, he may have gotten his wish here, at least for the overtime part. And Taylor gets pressure from Berryman, and he couldn't get the pass off.
You got to credit the pressure on Berryman that time. Quarterback did not have time to make the throw for the one-on-one outside. Corey Ross one-on-one with the defender.
All right, today's Chevrolet players of the game. As we take a look, you see Austin Flynn for the wide receiver for Iowa State, and Zach Taylor, record-setting quarterback. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Speaking of Taylor, there he is once again with the completion down to the 15-yard line. And that is enough. It's just beyond the 15. That will be enough for another Cornhusker first down.
Grant Mulkey playing the slot. He drives with himself. See, look at there. He makes 3 yards on his own after making the catch. He takes the defender across the 15-yard line and gets that first down on his own.
Over 800 yards of total offense from two teams that were struggling to move the ball early in the year. What a great one here in Lincoln, Nebraska. They fake it to Ross. Here's Taylor, gets some pressure, wide open down the field, and he stumbles and falls at the 8-yard line. That is Clayton Sievers, the backup tight end.
I tell you got Zach Taylor's out there thinking, holds the ball because everything's kind of covered. He doesn't want to throw an interception. It's overtime. Lets it develop, takes another step or two, and finds his tight end open. If he doesn't fall down, he turns and gets the first down, maybe the touchdown.
You know, Bill Callahan's realizing that everywhere Corey Ross goes, they got a linebacker and someone else in the secondary following him. So he used that misdirection because 3 guys followed Ross to the near side. They threw the ball back around the Sievers at the 9. Unbelievable numbers for Zach Taylor, the transfer from Wake Forest via Butler Community College. Oh, wide open is Ross, and no one is there. Touchdown, Cornhuskers.
Someone got lost on defense. Someone got lost on defense.
Well, when you're 5'6", you can hide pretty easily, but there was no one even close to him.
If there's one guy I'm not going to leave alone, that's Corey Ross, because most of the balls are going to that young man right there. However, there was some inside routes by the receivers. Those quite often lead to picks, lead to picking off a linebacker or someone who's supposed to come out with the with a running back.
And here's the freshman again, Jordan Congdon, to put him up by 7. And the extra point is up and good. And Corey Ross, a senior from Denver, Colorado, is all by his lonesome. Makes the catch and could have stopped and tied his shoes and still scored. No one even close as the Huskers score, and now this crowd is on their feet cheering the black shirt defense, as we'll see what Brett Meyer and the Cyclone offense can do here.
Yeah, you put the pressure on the offense now of Iowa State to make the calls to get a touchdown, because the field goal won't help you.
Look at the numbers for Corey Ross, fifth-year senior. Came here as a true freshman when they won a national championship. Meyer gives it off inside, big hole, and Coleman cuts it back and is down near the first down sticks. Let's head back to New York and check on what's happening with Southern Cal and Arizona State. John?
Well, Arizona State finally got back on the board. Their first touchdown of the second half. Sam Keller on 1st and goal. 1 yard to Lee Burgraff. 28-24 is the lead now. Arizona State on top with about 6 minutes left. And USC getting ready to go on offense.
Great one there in Tempe, and we've got one here, second overtime. And Coleman will be right at, he should have the first down, right at the 15-yard line.
I'm going to tell you, they've done a great job of using Greg Coleman, Barney Cotton, the way he's used him. The last thing you're thinking about right now, defense, is that they're going to take this third-string tailback, and they're going to feature him in overtime, and that's exactly what they've done. They've done a great job and picked up a critical first down now on the 15-yard line.
They have not gone to Austin Flynn, who was the leading receiver in this overtime, and he comes off once again with a bit of a limp on the sideline. 1st and 10, 3 wide receivers. The lone setback is Coleman. Pressure and, nearly picked off. Daniel Bullock's got a finger on the football.
That's a great play. The slant play to the inside slot receiver. You've got your best receiver, 6'5", Todd Blythe. You're going to throw the ball. You've got him coming. There he is. Get the ball into his body. What a play by Daniel Bullock. And again, be careful with that backside arm. You saw it right there. Be careful with your backside arm. But fortunately for Nebraska.
Now the Cyclones had John Davis wide open in the end zone.
Well, there was a blitz coming, as you saw. That quarterback only had about one look.
4 wide receivers. Meyer here on 2nd and 10. And he'll take it and try to take the quarterback. Draw and doesn't get anywhere. That'll bring up 3rd and 10 from the 15.
You had everybody dropping back into coverage. 4-man rush. They were playing for the draw, and they were able to pick it up. Brett Meyer, you'll see right now, they're trying to set up the pass rush. A great job.
Nice little spin by Titus Adams to make the quarterback have to jump over him.
Great job by the defensive front.
That's one of those practice drills you work on every day in practice.
Jumping over those dummies. Big play.
3rd and 10. 5 wide receivers, pressure, here comes the ball, and it's in and out of the hands of Austin Flynn. Well, it all comes down to this. 1 down. You're 10 yards away from...
Boy, I tell you, Nebraska, they put it all on the line. They blitzed everybody, no free safety in the middle, man coverage. Now you can play a little zone. Now you can play a little safe zone.
The noise is absolutely deafening. We'll let you watch and listen here on this 4th down and 10 play in second overtime. Whoa, and he overthrows the receiver, and Flynn wants the interference, but it's over here in Lincoln, Nebraska. What a football game. One more look at this final play. Austin Flynn asking for a penalty, said he was interfered, but let's see what happens downfield. There was contact with Blake Tiedke. Let's look again from the end zone.
Can't see it from that angle right there. Tiedke again aggressively on the play. Watch the fullback, 42, coming out of the backfield right now. Wide open right here. Quarterback decides to go outside. You don't win a game hoping for a pass interference. What a great ball game. What a great victory for Bill Callahan and this Nebraska team.
And how about this offense that everyone's been hammering at Nebraska? 472 yards total offense. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Search ABC Sports. For Terry Bowden and Trini Kusnerick, I'm Jerry Punch saying so long from Lincoln. Wednesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern. Don't miss an all-new episode of Lost. Once again, our final score, Nebraska 27, Iowa State 20. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports Championship Television. So long, everybody.
Double overtime in Lincoln, a thriller for the sellout crowd at Memorial Stadium. You saw it just seconds ago. On a record day for passing for the Huskers, Zach Taylor connects with Corey Ross for the winner. Nebraska is 4-0. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Big Red Zone Game Day coverage. KETV News Watch 7's Matt Schick is here with the story from Lincoln, and what a game it was.
Unbelievable. Wow. What a game to watch. We're standing by for comments from head coach Bill Callahan and the players. First, some highlights for you from today, and you know what? Not a bad football game. Zach Taylor, 6 for 6 passing on the first drive of the game. Here he finds France Hardy. That is a gain of 8, part of a 14-play, 68-yard drive that took 6.5 minutes, capped by a 30-yard Jordan Congdon field goal, 3-zip Nebraska. Second quarter, Brent Culbertson gets the Cyclones on the board. 31-yarder. We are tied at 3. Shaping up to be another low-scoring affair. Huskers drive again, but can't finish the drive. 3rd and goal, France Hardy wide open. Oh, right through his arms. Coach Callahan cannot believe it. He says that's not what the play was designed to do, so at least they'll get 3 points, right? Congdon, 21-yarder, misses. Callahan gets us ticked off, as you'll see him. Throws the headset, 11 plays, 79 yards, no points. Black shirts again standing strong today. Stuart Bradley brings down Brett Meyer. One of 3 sacks for Nebraska in the first half. They had 6 in the game. Iowa State looking to take the lead at the end of the half. 26-yarder from Culbertson. That is no good. Both teams trying to leave as many points as they can on the field, tied at 3 at the half. Third quarter, after a Jay Moore interception, the offense finally gets its big play. Zach Taylor to Corey Ross. Watch this. Cut back. It's a Barry Sanders-esque move right there. 10-3 Nebraska, 70 yards on the screen. Iowa State comes right back down the field. Brett Meyer to Walter Nickel, the second. And it is for 6. We are tied at 10. 2 teams traded field goals. We're tied at 13. Late in the fourth, Huskers looking to line up for a field goal, just trying to position the ball here for Congdon. But it is a broken play, and Zach Taylor had a tremendous game, but this was his lone mistake. Fumbles the football. Cyclones recover. We go to overtime in the first session. Cyclones get the ball first. Greg Coleman, the touchdown right up the gut from 10 yards out. So Nebraska must score a touchdown. 3rd and goal. Corey Ross, he's in. Tremendous day for Corey. We're tied at 20 after the first overtime. Second OT, Zach Taylor finds a wide open Corey Ross. 8 yards, he's in. 27-20. ISU has to get a first down or score, or the game is over. 4th and 10. Iowa State throws. Brett Meyer incomplete. No flag on Lake Tiki there. They're not going to throw a flag at Memorial Stadium. The refs wouldn't make it out alive, and the Huskers go on to win this one 27-20 in 2 overtimes. The first overtime game for the Huskers since 2000 when they beat Notre Dame. They're 4-0 in overtime games now. Iowa State does not get its first win in Lincoln since 1977. How about Zach Taylor? 431 yards passing. That is a record, a tremendous game for both sides of the ball. Huskers go on to win 27-20. They're 4-0 overall and now 1-0 in Big 12 play. KETV News Watch 7's John Schutz is live at Memorial Stadium with big Red Zone game day coverage. And John, boy, it doesn't get much more exciting than this, huh?
Well, I tell you, it does not, Matt. These crowds was unbelievably loud when the Nebraska defense took the field for that last series, and the Black Shirts really came through in the end there. Nebraska improves to 4-0 now for the 7th time in the last 9 seasons, and it's their 28th straight conference home opener victory, going all the way back to 1977, the last time they lost to Iowa State here at Memorial Stadium. Do we have those team statistics? If we do, let's take a look at them. And unbelievable passing day for Nebraska. 431 yards passing. Zach Taylor, a record single game performance for Nebraska. Just 36 yards rushing. You know, at the end of the 3rd quarter, Nebraska had only run the ball 14 times. They had thrown it 41. So obvious what the game plan was here was to go after those Iowa State defensive backs, and it proved very effective. Total yards 467 to 374, and turnovers was 1-1. That one for Nebraska, though, could have been very costly. Zach Taylor fumbling the ball at the end when he really should have just dropped to the ground and let Nebraska go for that field goal. But I guess it all worked out in the end for Nebraska. You know, Matt, it was really, the tone was set, I think, in that first drive for the Huskers. They came out and they showed that they can move the football, and it was a very encouraging performance for them today. And here it is. Here is that first drive. It was a 14-play, 68-yard drive, and Zach Taylor was just on the money. He was 6 for 6 on this drive, and those little short dump passes, very effective. And in this drive, they didn't even start working that ball to Corey Ross, and that is what really got this team going. Corey Ross, you got to get the ball in this guy's hands, but this drive was something else, and unfortunately, it ended up in a field goal. It looked like they were going to take it down and punch it in for the touchdown, but Jordan Congdon finishes this one off and put Nebraska up 3-0. But Matt, I tell you, it was an exciting ball game, and you know, there were a few things that could have gone the other way for Nebraska, and it might have ended up in a loss, but I think all is forgiven when it ends up this way. You got 4-0, you can't argue with that, I guess.
No, that's true, John. And Corey McEwen wanted it to be a blackout day. There were thousands of fans wearing their black shirts, and it was appropriate enough for today as the black shirts stood strong again. 6 more sacks, that's 26 for the season. And when they needed to come up with the play, 4th and 10, Brett Meyer throws incomplete, and black shirts came up. It was a great day for the defense, John.
Yeah, it was. And these guys have been carrying this team for so long this season. And the concern coming in was Brett Meyer. This guy can move, as you can see today, and Nebraska was all over him. He did make some plays. You got to give him some credit. Jay Moore, a fantastic day for Nebraska. You see him knocking that one loose there. And, you know, these Iowa State receivers, you got to give them credit too. John Davis from Papillion. That guy had another fantastic day. He had a huge day against Nebraska last year. But, you know, Nebraska was able to contain Iowa State in this game a little bit. I know when you look at the numbers, 300 and some odd yards, it doesn't look that way, but, you know, I guess it's the stuff between the 20s is not as important as the stuff inside the 20s. And, you know, red zone offense, that's going to be a concern for Nebraska again this week because they had a lot of opportunities that were blown, and they really could have put this game away early and did not. So I think that'll be a concern, but like I said, you're going to take the win, you're going to enjoy the win, and pretty soon we're going to hear from Coach Callahan and the rest of the Huskers. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Talking to our producer here. Okay, all right, we're going to send it back to you, Matt. They're telling me to be quiet.
Someone's got it. No, John, thank you. Live from Lincoln. We will check back in with him shortly. Coming up, we're here until 7 o'clock with more post-game comments plus news and weather. We're also going to check in with head coach Bill Callahan at the podium. Also ahead, UNO in action. How many points could they put up today on Oklahoma Panhandle State? That's coming up. So the Huskers win 27-20 in 2 overtimes. If you weren't watching the game, what's the matter with you? That was one of the best games you'll ever see. We're standing by for head coach Bill Callahan at the podium. We will go to him when he is there. Here are some unofficial stats from today's game, and you talk about a game ball. I guarantee you tonight at 10, we're going to be giving it to this young man, Zach Taylor. Forget about the carries. How about the passing? 36 of 55 for 431 yards. And as Schutz alluded to, that is a new school record for passing yards in a game. 2 touchdowns. And maybe most importantly, no interceptions. He's going to take a sack or 2 every now and then, but he's not going to turn the ball over. Corey Ross, he and Taylor, both Warriors today. But Corey Ross had that big play in the 3rd quarter, the 70-yard screen touchdown that led to the, well, that was a touchdown. 8 receptions, 131 yards, 15 carries for 32. But, boy, he did most of his damage through the air. 3 touchdowns total for Corey Ross. Let's check in again with John Schutz at Memorial Stadium. John, Corey Ross, Zach Taylor, just a great duo today.
Yeah, they were. They were fantastic. And you know, we talked about this a little bit earlier. Nebraska had not really shown that pass to the running back up to this point this season. You know, maybe it was something they saw with Iowa State, or maybe it was something they finally decided, you know, we need to get the ball in Corey Ross's hands, and you can see what he can do with it. He didn't get a lot of room to run behind this offensive line today, only 32 yards rushing, but when he got the ball in his hands on the pass, Corey Ross made some things happen, obviously. And not only that, I don't know if you noticed it or if you could see it on TV in the overtime. Nebraska's first possession of overtime, Corey Ross was the guy leading the way on the block for Terrence Nunn to get down to the 1-yard line, and then they scored on the next play. But you just look at Corey Ross on this play. This is the touchdown, 70 yards, and check out the moves on this guy. You got to get the ball in his hands. Have I said that before in this show? You got to get the ball to number 4. He's your playmaker, and that was the difference today, because Corey Ross and Zach Taylor got things together. But, you know, what about Nate Swift? This is a guy we hadn't seen too much of this year. He did a heck of a job receiving today, showed that he can catch the ball. And, you know, the Nebraska receivers have taken a lot of heat so far this season because they've had a lot of drop balls, and there were 3 drops in the game, Matt, but they held on in some tough situations today.
No, they did have some crucial drops today, John. We will check back with you later on, and we are still waiting for head coach Bill Callahan to step to the podium, no doubt taking his time in that joyous Husker locker room. Big Red Zone Game Day continues in a moment. Stay with us. And we take you live to Memorial Stadium. Bill Callahan at the podium.
Excellent belief in what we're doing from a offensive and defensive and special teams aspect, and everybody contributed this one. It was a great team victory for us. Well, I thought he played courageous today. I thought he took some hits in the pocket, scrambled when he had to make runs, and got lit up, and physically got hit. You know, he's a smart quarterback. It's amazing that you can make that many plays and do what we did with the attempts that we had in that game and not turn the ball over. And that says a lot about his decision-making ability, his ability to have an awareness and understanding of progression, and obviously when the progression's locked down, to know where to go and what to do with the football. I was really proud of his efforts. He took some vicious hits today. And, you know, that's a part of quarterbacking. And I thought our line, though, for the most part, did a very good job. And, you know, he stood in there, and I thought that after a while we kind of wore their rush down a little bit and had an opportunity to make some plays. But overall, his play was very good, but very courageous on his part. Yeah, we did. We did. We really practiced a lot of those routes. We just don't, you know, pull them out of thin air. We practiced those, and then we had an opportunity to call a lot of those plays today, and the coverage allowed us to call it and take advantage of what they were playing. And he's, you know, Corey's an outstanding receiver, and he possesses that type of skill, not only as a running back and as a ball carrier, but as a route runner. And as you watch him run those routes that he ran, and when he gets isolated against a linebacker, the moves that he can make on a linebacker in space are just as effective as what he can do with the ball in his hand in the running game. So it's a real luxury. And we're really fortunate to have a back of his caliber that can exhibit those types of skills in the passing game.
Oh, I think they just mixed a lot of coverages, Steve. You know, they mixed a lot. They played 3 deep. They played quarters. They played man. They played fire zone. They played 2 deep. We saw the whole repertoire, just like I had stated to you earlier in the week in the press conference. You know, when I came up there on Tuesday, I said that we're going to see the whole mix of coverage, and that's what we saw today. And they're a good football team. They're well disciplined. They're well coached. You know, and they're a challenge. You know, because they know how to contest the flight of the ball. They know how to contest throws. Their coverage is tight, so you've got to earn everything you get against those coverages. And I thought our kids came up and responded with a lot of big plays today.
Is this the best 4 quarters your team's put together?
Well, I think, you know, from a pass game aspect or perspective, we did. I thought our players did an excellent job executing the plan. I felt that after the first half, we left some points on the field. We blew some opportunities there early in the first half. We had an opportunity to get more than 3 points on the board, and that's frustrating. But we came in at half, and you know, we talked to the players, and our players we had tremendous energy at the half and tremendous conviction of what we needed to get accomplished coming out in the second half. So to their credit, you know, they responded well coming out, and you know, our defense rallied when they had to. They made some great red zone stops when we had to. They made some big plays. Corey McEwen's play, Jay Moore's play, the entire defense. I just can't say enough for their efforts today and their ability to do what they needed to do against a very good quarterback. You got to credit Meyer. You know, you all watched him today. He's an outstanding player. He can make plays. He makes plays when you got him out of the pocket, flushed, wrapped up, going down. He made some huge plays, and that's his ability. And you got to respect that, and we certainly did. And it was just great to come out with a win today like we did.
Talk about the play of Nate Swift with the coach.
Well, we did. You know, we want to distribute the ball a little bit more and further expand upon, you know, the players that we were utilizing, and we wanted to maximize everybody that was up for the game. So in that regard, you know, Nate Swift came up huge on the one-go route up the right boundary there in the fourth quarter. Came up big, working the inside. He can work the lanes pretty well in the zone. He knows how to escape man-to-man. So he played very well. We've got a lot of confidence in Nate, a lot of confidence in Grant Mulkey. And we wanted to distribute the ball. I think 11 different receivers touched the ball. I don't know if that's correct or not, but I think there was 11 players touched the ball today in the passing game. So it was pretty indicative of how we wanted to distribute the ball.
What we're seeing here is an NFL.
Well, you know, we decided that you were going to continue to press on with the passing game. We had tremendous success with that. We were mixing in the run at times, and we had, you know, we weren't full-fledged in terms of our commitment. You know, we saw some things that we wanted to do in the passing game. We felt confident about our pass protection. So when you get in a game like this, you know, where you're trying to push the ball down the field, you know, what I'm saying to you is that I think, you know, the circumstances surrounding the game dictated that we throw a little bit more. So we did what we thought was best for our team.
Huskers win 27-20 in 2 overtimes. More Big Red Zone game day coming up in a minute.
Welcome back to Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, where Nebraska has just defeated Iowa State in 2 overtimes. Quite a game. And you know, this is the first time in 100 meetings that Iowa State has come into a game with Nebraska as the ranked team and Nebraska not ranked. And coincidentally, it is Nebraska's first win over a ranked team in over 2 years. The last one was against Oklahoma State, 17-7. After the game, here's what Iowa State coach Dan McCarney had to say about his loss.
It's a tremendous football game. Credit to Bill Callahan, his staff, their players. They're playing with Bill Callahan's personality. It was a 15-rounder and then some, and Nebraska in the end made more plays than we did. The effort of both teams was excellent, and in the end, Nebraska made 1 or 2 more plays than we did. I'm real sorry that we weren't able to win this football game. We came here to win, not look good, not be competitive, not be almost, not go into overtimes and then wait for people to pat you on the back and say, boy, wasn't that a great game, and you were real special today. We came here for one reason, to win a football game. Period, end of story.
And Dan McCarney still has yet to win as a head coach of the Iowa State Cyclones here in Lincoln. We're still waiting for more post-game, and we'll have that for you coming up after this right here on Big Red Zone Game Day. Welcome back for more of Big Red Zone Game Day live at Memorial Stadium, where Nebraska has just beaten Iowa State 27-20 in 2 overtimes. With me now, wide receiver Nate Swift. Good to see you out there making some catches. That had to be fun for you.
It was. It was a great game all around. The whole team played great.
Did you guys know coming in that you were going to put the ball up this much? Did you see something in Iowa State that said, hey, we can do this?
Yeah, we've been preparing. We actually had a bye week last week, which helped us prepare immensely. And we knew we were going to throw it up on them. Coach Callahan wanted to break out the West Coast offense and shut up all our critics. So I think we did pretty good on that.
I would say. Now, we're looking at a little bit of what you did here today. Well, you said that we found one route for you that worked. What was that?
That was the double under, and Mulkey's the inside receiver. We have trips right, 3 receivers to the right, and he clears it out, and I go up 6 yards and run a crossing route. And the linebacker was always go outside, so it was always wide open for me, and they always gave it to me, so it was good.
Well, pretty effective stuff. Congratulations on the win tonight, and congratulations on your first catches as a Husker. I think you said 5 catches?
Yep.
Not that you pay attention to that stuff. These guys don't pay attention to that stuff, Matt. Are we throwing it to a break here? All right, we'll be back with more Big Red Zone Game Day coming up.